order. We're gonna resume the meeting from yesterday, and so, at this time, we'll have Mr. Commissioner Fleming say the invocation to do the pledge, so if y'all all stand, please.
Our Father, we come again, thanking you for your many blessings you bestowed upon us. Our Father, we come in these times and we pray that you bless us today, give us strength, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Throw your arms of protection around each and every heart in the building this morning. Help us do the county's business. Bless the constituents, bless the board members, keep us in your care. Father, we ask these and all blessings. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to welcome everybody to day 2 of the workshop. We're gonna do things a little different on this on these outside agencies, if I can. The board, I'd like to see us. Last year, you will realize we did funding from the CARES money because we had it. This year, I'd like to recommend we go back to the 2021 budget of $112,000, and we agreed a couple years back, I'm right, Mr. Harris, that we weren't going to add any to this list.
Yeah, I think it's been two or 3 years ago, whatever it was, that the board stopped.
So,
But you do have a new one that you might want to do something with, to consider, I don't know. The board.
so,
Only thing I would add, we don't have to make a decision at the end of each presentation. I think we did last year and the year before. We just take everything in consideration and we start crunching numbers, we can start making some decisions.
well, what I was trying to do was get this one finished up, and if they wanted to speak, anybody wanted to speak, they could. If not, they could go ahead and get on with their day, and we got a whole lot of other things here that we're gonna have to discuss. It's probably gonna get pretty lengthy today, so I was trying to speed things along, so it's up to you, commissioners. We can do it however you want to, but that's my recommendation.
Mr. Chairman, I would say that the first statement that you made, that, you know, if it's going to be lengthy, these individuals just sitting, it would be to their advantage if we just did it the way they say.
Thank you, Mr. Fleming. Mr. Spector, you got any thoughts?
Part of it I agree with, part of it I'm gonna probably not agree with. You're saying you wanna go back to the amount funded pre-COVID.
2021, and your amount listed there is $112,000. Mr. Lane.
I'm okay with that. I mean, last year when we did that extra, I say extra because we had the CARES money, and we explained, I think we explained it to all the agencies, hey, we're gonna do a little bit more, kind of like what we did. We addressed some roads at that time because we had some extra money. And we, you know, told the public also that, hey, we're gonna dip into this CARES money because we have it, and times are tough due to the pandemic, so we threw some extra money on the table. That said, I would hope that the agencies understood that we increased it last year because we had that extra federal money come down. Like you said, if they would like to speak to it, they're more than welcome to, but I would be okay with going back to the 2021 number as we have historically done.
The reason I'm saying all this is because we're trying to take care of this employee situation we've got. That's running into, what is the difference between the two total budgets for this board? For the CARES year that we did was 137.5, and we're going back to 112. Yeah, 112,000 2021.
Okay.
Tab 3, I think that is. Go ahead, Mr. Spector.
I'm gonna obviously get off to a rocky start here. These folks are here, they come every year. This was way before my time. I'm just stating how we've done it. I understand to expedite the situation and not have people here, but I feel like they come and they have a voice for these agencies, and it's important. And I'm gonna ask that they speak, and I'm also gonna ask that we consider some of these numbers. I know there's one or two that have an additional, at least one that is brand new, and that person had reached out to me and asked about it, and I told them how it worked, and if they wanted to fill out the necessary paperwork, please do it. And I just feel like that they need to be able to speak. So,
Well, I'm not trying to not get anybody to speak. I'm just trying to see if we can, as a board, approve whatever we're gonna approve. And then if some of them wanna speak and they feel the need to speak, they can. If not, then it's up to them. I'm just trying to speed it along.
Mr. Chairman, could I clarify something?
Yes, sir, Mr. Flynn.
Okay, today from 9 to 9:30, we can just let them speak and then we can hash it out from there.
Well, I'm gonna just give them the option to
Right.
speak. You know, I'm just trying to ask y'all, let's go ahead and talk about the money first. Let's go ahead and deal with that, and then they can speak if they want.
I'm good.
Mr. Chairman.
I would just like to say to the folks that are here that weren't here yesterday, we're starting out, we have the minimum wage mandate is what really got us crunched this year, and we're starting out this year with a contingency fund, which is what we try to cover our remaining uncovered expenses with. It's significantly lower than what it was at the beginning of last year coming to day two. What, you remember what it was last year, Keith? Starting out?
It was right out of the
I mean, we're at
$1 million.
$800,000 when we got here.
Okay, so we're starting out today at $698,000 left over in our contingency, and we have the minimum wage issue that the county's trying to cover, which is increasing our expenses on the payroll side, trying to get everybody up to the $11 and even then some. But on top of that, this board spent 2 hours yesterday talking about the compression that we have, which is what we're considering, I believe we agreed yesterday on consensus that anybody below the $12.50 to bring them up to the $12.50 minimum wage, and with the 1%, if I misspeak, Harris, correct me, but with the 1% that we have historically done in the 50 cents an hour per year per employee, by bringing everyone up below the $12.50 to $12.50, that payroll change every year will get them to the $15, which is required by year 5. Well, that's going to cost the county $141,000, $142,000, $141,946. So call it $142. But what we have yesterday that we're still trying to figure out is the employee that's been here for 4 years and is making 13. He's going to be a little disgruntled that we brought starting pay up to $12.50. He's been here for 3, 4, 5 years, and he's only making 13. So now we got to figure out with that remaining $698, what are we going to do for those for that group of employees that you got to create a compression issue. Then we have a little bit of a compression issue already. So I just trying to highlight or bring some of the folks that weren't here yesterday. I mean, that was a very deep conversation on how to fix that and what we do. But if we whatever we do across the board to try to combat compression is going to come at a big ticket, $200,000-$300,000 potentially. So that, I think that's kind of in my mind where I'm at on why we may need to go back to the pre-COVID numbers, because one, we're starting out today at 698, and historically it's been $1 million plus, and we still haven't figured out what we're going to do with actual compression yet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Am I right?
Yes, sir. Very well stated.
Mr. Chairman,
Sorry. Mr. Harris.
you do have one unique impact here as a result of going back to 2021, and that would be the Wellborn Community Association, because last year, or the current year was the first time it was funded. So So you would leave that one out if you went back to that. If you
Didn't catch
if you
that.
put a number in there, if you put a number in there for the Wellborn Community Association.
That's $115,100.
Mr. Chairman, well, you got a couple there, we got, you're at 112 with pre-COVID, so there's a new agency also at the bottom that was, I'm for sure like to speak, but last year was 137.5, and we have one that's at the bottom, would make it 140. I'm $28,000 apart is what we are. If you follow me. I would ask this board to entertain the $28,000 if I stood at 140, leave everything the same as it was last year, and add the one agency at the bottom. That would take us from 137.5 to 140. It's $28,000. We could find it somewhere.
I'll agree to that if you'll concede the Wellborn collection site.
Right out the gate this morning. Listen,
So I'm trading 28,000 for 200,000.
Oh, no, we got the wage thing too, so. And I did give up the road.
No, you didn't give it up, you just gave up a place. You place in line.
I don't.
Some of these folks don't know the backstory.
What he's proposing, but I just don't want to put the cart before the horse. I mean, maybe we just don't really make a decision till we get to the end and see what we really have. I mean, that's my thinking.
I don't disagree, I don't disagree with Commissioner, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. I don't disagree with Commissioner Hill. I would say though, it's gonna take a long time to get to the end, like the chairman has said. And if we did agree on the 140,
You know where you stand?
then we just have to get there is what I'm saying. And I don't mind making concessions from monies that I got from other things. Obviously, I'm not saying that because I'm trying to make up the difference in the 28,000. But I just feel like everybody's been impacted on this. And I kind of feel like today they didn't understand. They don't understand. Commissioner Land explained it well, but I'm saying they didn't know that coming into today.
No,
They could have had conversations ahead of time or planned different. And if you consider doing that, then moving forward into next year, we can be clear that, we may have to make some adjustments. I would just,
well, I thought we made that clear last year when we done that. It may go back to what we were at before. But again, I like trading.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner.
I had Nina print me off some extra copies here. I'm gonna pass those down, and I got some extra copies too. I got one from Mr. Harris and for the public if they want them. But this is that list that we talked about yesterday that went through the budget on different items. Some of these need to stay, some of these are escrows, and some of these have been here for a long, long time. But here are some possible, I'm not saying they're all legit places that we could cut, but here are some possibilities in the budget that's been rolled for 3+ years that we could potentially cut from, to take from, to cover not only the compression issue, but maybe these agencies. I don't know, but I'm just gonna pass this list down, and y'all pass them around, so throughout the meeting today, maybe y'all could be glancing at it, studying it.
That'll be fine.
I meant to bring copies yesterday, I just forgot. I showed it to you yesterday, I'm so excited,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that we need to go through this list together one by one and talk about them, but I'm just, for informational purposes, those are some items in the budget that have been there for quite some time, 3+ years. And there's more copies if anybody else in the public would like to have them. It's crazy.
Except Mr. Buck.
Set low. Yeah. Just take them with you. Just take them with you. I got them. Just give them. That's
At any point, what I'm trying to do here is not prolong this. We got a lot of other stuff to get to. I just want us to agree to a number here so we know how much money we got left going on. And so I'd really like, and it's up to you guys, I'll do whatever you want to do, but I would really like to address it now and move on. So we got an offer on the table here of $140,000. Is that correct? And that's funding everybody current amount requested. What was the school? Commissioner Stapleton? It's 146 over here in the amount requested. And you said 140.
Well, I was just at last year's, there is two things.
Oh, it's adding the 25, I got you.
There's
Right.
one
I'm
increase.
So we're at,
No.
I'm understanding now. We're 140, yeah, you'd be 140.
Mr. Chairman, I asked at this time though that we got a couple that's new that we let them speak, just to, if they choose to.
No, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. I was just offering it so we could, they could speak or not speak, it's up to them.
I know, and other commissioners has probably got some, but I know I have the Global Community Association here that have added another event. They did the Blueberry Festival,
Yes, sir.
and they had added a different event, and that's why their number or their request have changed. If you look at that from last year to this year, it's would you folks, would someone like to speak on that?
Would y'all like to speak on that?
This one.
Good morning.
Name and address if you don't mind, sir.
My name is Mason Martin. My address is 6144 112th Place, Welborn. I'm the president of the Welborn Association. Last year, we added another program to our association, which is the Cornbread Festival, Fall Festival. And that's why you see a different request of funding there this year. So that's what the difference in reimbursement and what we're getting for. Any questions?
No, sir.
No, sir.
I would just add to Mr. Post's comments is, like he said, the original request of 3,000 was for the Blueberry Festival, help support that. And then they requested another 3,000 this year, and that was for that, the Cornberry Festival in the fall. And I attended it, and it has a good following. The weather wasn't great this past year.
No, it wasn't.
But they're building it up to be a good community event. Now, I understand we're in tough times and maybe can't go to that, but we could do something. I would ask for the entertainment. That's,
Mr. Chairman, I have a problem with it.
Sir.
I wouldn't have a problem.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate you. Let's, this is a new one, the Hearthstone Botanical Gardens, if you'd like to come up and speak. And I'm gonna give everybody else a chance to speak too, if you so choose. These are new ones, so we're gonna go ahead and do them.
Good morning. We are new, 4 years old, Hearthstone Botanical Gardens, 20 minutes from Live Oak. We're in Wellborn. We're a 501c3. We have 35 acres with a 7-acre parking lot. Our mission is to be a sanctuary, a haven for people who come to the gardens. Our mission is also to educate through plant design, garden design, and through plant choice and workshops, which we have every month. We're open daily, dawn to dusk. We're free. Our funding comes from monthly workshops like propagation, grafting, orchids, edible weeds. Every month we have different workshops. We're funded by donations. We have 2 events. We have an April plant sale, and in the packet that I gave you, a sample of our Scarecrow Festival, which is in October. We're young, but we're growing. We have a website, a monthly newsletter, which you have in your packet, just a sample of our August newsletter. We were published this year in this book, The Garden Tourist, Florida. So on page 38, here we are. You're welcome to look at it. I don't have enough books to give you each one. We also recently, the Suwannee Valley Electric Company did a very nice 2-page spread. That too is in your pamphlet. We're a botanical garden with a very strong educational component. We have rose garden, butterfly, tropical, Japanese garden, which is unique in North Florida. And we have a children's garden. Now it's the children's garden that I'm really here to talk with you about. We would like to expand it. We have a large gazebo in it. We have binoculars, magnifying glasses, bug catchers, animal track, games for kids to play. We'd like to expand on those items, but the larger item, I think you might remember when you were a kid back then, as me, kaleidoscopes that you used to look through and you see all the different colors of things. We want to build a giant kaleidoscope in the children's garden for everybody to use, including the kids and you guys, all of us. We'd like to build the raised beds obviously for planting. We would like to buy grow bags. I brought a sample. This has nothing in it, so you have to use your imagination. But grow bags we fill with dirt. Then they have, and this is for people, then after things are growing, your root crops are growing, you can open this. There is dirt in here, just imagine that. And you can see the actual root growing. So it's the learning, it's the educating part of it. We want to buy, we would like to purchase root viewing boxes, which are just boxes with plexiglass on the front, dirt, plant, and you see the roots growing, okay? Scavenger hunt boards. We want to develop scavenger hunts, birds, bees, butterflies, contrasts, whatever. Nature-based books. And we'd also like to buy more plants with animal names because that is the way kids basically learn. This is a sample of what we have. The plant is called a lion's tail. So we do the cartoon part of it. So the kids are like, oh my goodness, wow, and look at that. They go to the plant. Down beneath, we have the Latin, we have the botanical name. And then underneath that, we have the phonetic spelling. So it's to make it fun for kids that they would want to go and see more things. There's one for bunny tails. These are plants that we would plant. We want to buy more of them. But with the botanical name and phonetic pronunciation, that too is another learning component. So in conclusion, my lifetime dream is this garden. Have a large garden that we can give to the public with no charge, but with help from groups like yourselves will help us to expand and educate and to continue to give. So that is where we are. And as I said, we're young, but we are growing. So thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Eric, did she give her name and address?
Got the name, not the address. I live in Welborn.
Would you mind just saying your address, please?
3300 134th Place, Wellborn. My name is Judy Mundy.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Sorry.
I would just like to add that I did visit the garden. We got a tour. Spent a couple hours out there, I would say. It's a beautiful place and very good learning experience for young children with the way she had it set up. So I would ask the board to please entertain the $2,500 request.
Any other comments?
That's up to you guys, whatever you want to do. I mean, when we first started talking, I stated where I was kind of thinking about the pre-COVID budget numbers. I mean, I wish we could give money to everybody who walked through that door and whatever they ask for. I mean, I wish I could buy my kids whatever they ask for, but I can't. I mean, we got some tough decisions ahead of us today. I don't know if y'all want to wait till the end I don't know if we wanna go through this list and start cutting other stuff out to come up with these funds, but the fact of the matter is before the day's over with, we might have to find some more money. And I say more money, I mean 6 figures to cover the issues of the county that we gotta cover. Now this, an extra $2,500 or an extra $5,000, is that gonna hurt us? Probably not, but, you know, at the end of the day, it all adds up. So, you know, it's just plays on the board, whatever y'all wanna do, but, you know, our back's against the wall a little bit on our contingency and our compression issue and some other stuff, but it's just totally up to you guys. I'll go along with whatever y'all wanna do.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Hood?
on the heels of that, I don't have a problem. I think, remember y'all come up with 140 a while ago, that's just the other two added from the previous numbers. We just roll with that number for conversation, and knowing that that's what we set aside for the end of the day, because like I said, we got a lot of talks, we got a lot of things going on. That's it. So,
I'm good. I'm good at 140. Commissioner Stapleton, good at 140. I know that's gonna leave Welborn at 3, but
That's where I made the error when I was first speaking. That second festival, I would ask for $1,500, it'd make it 141.5. Everyone would entertain that at this moment, and we would move forward on that. So, I mean, it was a error on my part, but
141.5. Are we good with that? Just Nina? 141.5.
It's added to the 3,000.
We're a total of 141.5.
she was just asking about
Yes. Oh, yeah.
well,
15.
Add 1,500 to the Welborn Community Association and 2,500 to the Hearthstone.
Okay.
Is it, now, at this time, would anybody, that's what we're gonna do on the money, is anybody wishing to speak? Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Good morning. Name and address, please.
Michelle Ward, and I give you our agency, that our location here, our address is 405 Southwest Walker Avenue, Azalea Park Learning Center. I'm Michelle Ward. I'm the Executive Director of Suwannee Valley Four Cs. I've been with the agency for 25 years. We're a private nonprofit organization. And thank you so much for your ongoing support of our agency. We provide a much needed service in Suwannee County. We serve 128 children. I only wanted to speak briefly because we're amazed sometimes by individuals in we serve the 4-county area, Columbia, Suwannee, Hamilton, and Lafayette counties. And we're amazed, sometimes about people that don't know about our program. So just briefly want to take the opportunity to quickly tell you about our program. So we have the Head Start and Early Head Start program in our 4-county area. We serve 415 children in that 4-county area. In Suwannee County, we serve 128. That's 56 at Azalea Park and 72 at our Live Oak Learning Center. And the vast majority of the children that we serve are below the federal poverty level. We also serve children in foster care, children with disabilities, and homeless children. So we serve the neediest of the needy. And our program is highly regarded in the field of early childhood. We are constantly evolving with best practices in early childhood. The contributions from Suwannee County Board of County Commissioners goes a long way to support our classroom, high-quality classrooms. So I just wanted to briefly be able to tell you thank you so much, and to make sure that others here are aware of our program.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? No takers?
Ms. Cannon?
Do you have any questions? I'll be happy to answer.
I think she was good.
Got the mafia with her.
Just showing support. That's all.
I just want to say we appreciate all of you coming, and if nobody else wants to speak, we appreciate you coming. If you don't want to hang around for all the battle is to come, you're welcome to leave if you like. Thank y'all.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Fleming?
I seen, Eric, historical.
Yes.
They don't see on there.
Well, probably they're scared, when they got their money, they might be scared to get up and say anything.
Well, at least they know we appreciate it.
Eric Musgrove, Chairman of Suwannee County Historical Commission. I was urged to get up and speak by Clyde, so it's your fault. I just want to thank y'all. I've got several members of my board here. I know other people are here too. And we've got a long meeting today. We had a long meeting yesterday, so thank y'all for y'all's support.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
And Douglas, the PAL program, forward into you don't say anything.
Thank you very much.
I want to see you chairman there, but I thought maybe you came. No.
Thank you.
You said that.
You still have.
All right, I guess we need to circle back to the wage thing before we go any further. Mr. Stokely.
Yeah, I want to speak to the Welborn Community Association, just so they understand, I don't know if they heard it earlier, but where we're at right now is supporting the event for the 1,000 that you received and adding 1,500 this year for the second festival. You had requested 3,000, but I asked the board to do the 1,500 because everyone's trying to have cuts and save money. So it will change your number from 3,000 that you get to 4,500.
Thank you very much.
I just didn't know if you clearly heard that, so I wanted to clarify.
Appreciate y'all coming.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll circle back to the wage issue and pick up where we left off yesterday. I'm all ears.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Gentry has run an estimate that includes everyone above 1,250. Includes all the constitutional officers as well. And that estimate comes just under $300,000, 287 something, but I'd go ahead and round it up to 300,000. Now, that includes everyone, including, let me make sure that I understand. Did you include the fire rescue in that, or did you cut them out? Okay, so the chief had asked that we not mess with that because he's already fixed his compression problem. So you can take out fire rescue, and then you need to discuss whether or not you're going to give the additional to the law enforcement and criminal that is already getting the 1% to 50 cent plus the state increase as well.
Well, I spoke to the sheriff right before we had the meeting, just because I figured probably that's where we were headed. And he's not here right now, but I did talk to him before the meeting, and he agreed that he would be fine except for his office staff and the dispatchers, the people that didn't get anything from the state. And so he was good with that as well. So it would just be anybody in his office staff, dispatchers, that kind of thing.
Okay, so that would be everyone other than law enforcement.
Law enforcement,
Criminal.
yes. And sorry to make our jobs so
Sorry.
How much is that?
Sheriff,
Can we have that information in like 10 minutes?
could you come to the podium?
We can break for 30 seconds and let you figure that out for us, Keith.
I mean, I don't know how to come up with a number right now, but Sheriff, I was just explaining to him, I spoke to you, we were talking about this wage increase, and you and Chief Hand, and we kind of agreed that anybody that was left out of your state pay raise, we would include in this funding that we're talking about.
Yeah.
You were good with that.
Yes, sir. And to make sure I got it cleared out, you're saying that anyone that did not get the state funding, they would get the extra 25s?
That's correct.
And the others will do just the 50 cent?
Right.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. Yeah, I'm good with that, guys, to kind of help things get through us.
We may have to get with Keith to figure all that out.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, that'd be easy to figure it out, yes, sir. But we definitely do that to help y'all out. Because y'all been good to me, so
I need you to be good to me.
I'm trying.
I need you to commit to that 150. You never did. You kind of snuck out on me yesterday. I'm trying to get a hard number here. I need that 150.
And here again,
It's called reflection.
He is absolutely good at it.
we do a trend, you know, here again, I keep it with every month and we do a trend report, but that's not 100%, but it's looking good for us, I can tell you.
He's taking a lot of notes from some of these criminals.
You should run for president.
Mr. Chairman, I think you need to understand the definition of us. He says it's looking good for us.
Well, I already got that, so we're good at 150. That's what we're at.
Yes. Well, we're
I got a yes. Is that right? That's all we got. A yes.
For the record. She got it.
For the record.
That's right.
Thank you, Sherry.
Exactly. You can get you upset.
So it will be something south of 300.
Eddie, do you want to say something to this?
He's trying to back out his number.
He's working on our number because he had put it in but no, Commissioner White and I spoke before, and when we did our salary adjustment, as I said yesterday, last year, we fixed our compression in the department.
That's right.
And so we're just gonna do our 1%, 50 cent across the board with everybody, and that way it's,
We appreciate it.
we don't need anything else.
Thank you.
That helps. And tell the guys we appreciate it. Really.
So we just need a number for budget purposes here, I guess, is what we're.
Yeah, we have to pull out those from the sheriff's department once they can give Keith.
Well, we can start on this wish list. I know we ain't got to the figure here yet, but we can kind of start running through this. And we kind of got some kind of idea where we're at. Or, wait a minute, let's back up just a minute. Let's go through Commissioner Land's.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to suggest.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find some more money before we dive off into.
I'm good with that.
Any of it and increase our contingency.
John,
I mean, that would be my recommendation. Try to find.
well, it's your list, so I'll let you get at it.
It's our list. Yeah, I mean,
You printed it.
technically, I did not.
What your mic up, Chief?
Sorry, clear hand copy.
Doing better, Mr. Booth.
Keith, we need to give y'all a minute.
Yeah.
I don't want, can we just hold up for a minute? I don't want to,
Sure.
if they're talking, he needs.
Well, can we just go through here and kind of pick out the ones that we know we're not gonna mess with?
Yes, that's what I would not mess with the Douglas Center whatsoever.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I attended the PAL thing there and the HVAC and
All that.
the improvements up there. I mean, I wouldn't mess with the Douglas Center.
Can we scratch the annex improvements?
What is that for? Is that just a line item for maintenance or something?
No, it was actually to get a Purina feed store sign to hang on the front of the building out here.
That'd be a check.
Actually, what this was about was all the complaints I've heard for years about what this building looks like in downtown and trying to do some type of facade on the front of it to make it look less like a feed store.
I'm good with the fees.
That's the scratch there.
Scratch it as in leave it or scratch it as?
Let's put it back in.
Back contingency. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Okay, so. What's going to highlight it?
So we can make up that feed store sign easy enough for the show.
Okay, so we put the 25,000 for judicial annex improvements back into contingency. Keith, Nina?
Let's just run through, we'll check them off and they get
Okay.
their numbers worked out.
The next one is the admin addition and HVAC replacement, 500,000. That, Mr. Harris gave us a history on that yesterday. It was at $1 million in 2021. The board agreed to shift gears on 112th. Now I believe that admin addition is for a conference room and
Conference room, the real restrooms, put the addition on the front for HR and all the other things we gotta do.
The air conditioner Suwannee is replacing, it's like raining in there when you.
Yeah, we got buckets there.
We'll leave that budget in there. You gonna leave that alone?
Leave it in there.
Okay.
We better not mess with Jimmy Norris.
Don't mess with Jimmy.
Okay, I've
We'll
missed
show you.
everything. I've missed everything.
You haven't missed.
We're just talking, just go ahead with
anything
what
yet.
you're doing, we'll come back.
Lift
We'll come
station,
back.
lift station at the jail, Mr. Durham is here. He
Let 'em know.
indicated yesterday that that's not really a must. It's getting by. It could, I guess, explode at any time, but right now it's working.
Let me tell you.
What did we do to the first floor?
Took the 25,000 judicial annex, we agreed to put that back into contingency.
Yeah, we can leave that alone for now, and if we have an explosion, as he says, then I'll just come back to you and we'll deal with it on an emergency basis. That work for y'all? Works for me.
Okay, so let's put that 70,000
For the lift
for the
station.
lift station back into contingency.
Ready?
Now we're at other salaries and wages. Mr. Harris, I don't really know what that
That's the
is. It's been-
extension office. And I don't know,
$18,548 has been in there since 2021, I know, and it's
Yeah.
not increased or decreased.
I would probably,
Mrs. Saft is here. Do you know what that is? Line number, it would be line number 1930-519-4700.
no, it's 3720.
3720.
Oh, yeah, I'm in the wrong one.
Line
sorry.
1300.
Line 1300.
Part-time or something that's
I
going
think
on.
that was a part-time position they talked about.
Y'all know what that is?
I think it may have been, was that money that we put in there to start someone and get them trained before someone retired?
That was a little before my time.
That sounds right.
It's line 1300, I missed it.
It's been there for more than 3 years.
I'm going on
Yes, sir.
memory, but I'm thinking that might be
Been
what
there
that
since
was.
2021.
I'll put it back at the end. It must have been.
Ms. Saff, that line, it's been $18,548 since 2021, and it hasn't increased or decreased. Nobody's used it.
Right, that was for a part-time position.
Is that needed now? Or will it be filled in the next fiscal year?
We would like to fill it. We've been trying to fill the full-time positions,
Gotcha.
so we've been a little busy with that.
You think you could hold off for one more year?
You gonna give it back to me?
If
See
needed.
what?
I'm gonna give you a sheriff answer on that
I'm gonna
one.
give it back to me.
Why did Mr. Baker start laughing real loud?
No, I'm not willing to do that.
All right, we can circle back to that one.
Come back.
We have to have it. X2, we've already talked about. We're gonna turn that loose with Greg, I believe.
Yes.
Machinery and equipment, tractor, $25,000, $6,400. Mr. Harris?
That's at the Coliseum, that's Coliseum tractor.
Mr. Scott here. Are we gonna get a tractor or are we not?
Not right now. We can hold that off.
Take that one out.
Okay, so let's put that one back in. Man, we find it.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Exhibition, you gonna scratch out?
No, we're gonna leave that.
No, we're gonna leave that.
We're gonna leave that there. We've only got 3 that we're scratching so far, and that's the annex, the lift station, and we're at machinery, equipment, tractor.
Tractor. The next one is IT vehicle that we've been trying to order, but we're having to wait for the windows to open with the manufacturers to place the order. So we need to keep that.
Did you leave that in
Is that the
there?
one we budgeted last
Charlie,
year?
yeah.
We still ain't got it.
We've tried and they're not taking orders yet. So,
What are you buying for 28,000?
well, at the time, we thought we could get a vehicle for 28. It was a small little SUV thing for all equipment around
Yeah.
to all the departments. We probably need to increase it.
No.
But in any event, we need to just leave it there.
Okay. Other salaries and wages, $10,000. Mr. Harris, you know what that is?
We can remove that one.
Okay, so we're gonna put that in.
Here's what'll happen there. I have vacancies throughout the year. You've heard me say this before. Sometimes I'll write a vacancy just to create money in the budget for the rest of my wages and salaries. So I'll take care of it.
Okay.
The bridge, go ahead.
Bridge, Mr. Chairman.
We have to leave that in there.
No, you go ahead, that's fine.
That isn't optional that we remove that. We have to keep that. We've got to start performing some maintenance there.
Okay.
Did you say remove the other salary?
Yes, the $10,000.
4110, correct.
So leave the 28 for the
Correct.
IT vehicle, correct? And then-
This
this, I don't even know what this is. Drainage, 71st Drive ditch,
I
375.
know where it's at.
We've got to rebid that.
I can't, that's in my district, I need to keep it. It's been a 10-year process of, we just can't get it fixed, but it drains into Peacock Lake,
Fair enough.
under that road out there.
I know where that's at now.
It's a travesty, the ditch and how it was constructed the first time.
Okay, I know where that's at.
This is the location that was part of almost became part of the lawsuit. We ended up in mediation and settled, but
Fair enough.
anyway, we better go back and do that.
We should have already had it fixed, but with all the way the country was wide open, we couldn't get bids. People,
Everybody doing
it's
their
fixing to
stuff.
change.
Yeah. Storage building construction, it looks like we've been adding money to that, Mr. Harris. Looks like we added money,
Yeah,
the board added money.
That's because, there's a reason for that. One, we knew that we just weren't gonna be able to get the thing done for that number, but here's what we've got.
Where's this at?
This is at the road department.
Okay.
This will be part of the building for where we do our signs, where we manufacture signs. And because a portion of it's gotta be climate controlled. Part of it is storage for the sign shop, part of it is storage of files, and blueprints.
Absolutely, we'll leave that.
We need that.
Mr. Scott, Chip Seal Coliseum, I personally think that we should leave that there since we're gonna turn the 80,000 loose on the X2 money for you to, and we agreed, I think yesterday consensus was to turn some loose of that 275 to get some RV hookups, right, Commissioner Hale?
Yeah.
So Mr. Scott's fixing to expedite some improvements out there, right?
Yes, sir.
And we may want to asphalt that, at some point.
Well, I'll leave that between you and Mr. Scott.
Rather than chip seal.
Yeah.
Okay, Suwannee, Chips at Suwannee Lake, 22,000. Did FWC fix that dock that vandalized and burnt down? They built a brand new dock, didn't they?
I don't know if they went back and repaired that.
Well, can we put it back in and then
I'm
we'll
gonna take that out for now. That's Commissioner Fleming's, but it's been in there for a while, and we'll circle back around.
Is Mr. Clement okay?
Yeah, he was saying.
Well, like I said, if they come back to it and they need it, then we can address it then.
Right, it just cleans up a line items.
Okay, so we'll add that back to contingency. Nina, Keith, y'all following? Soccer relocation / DC, 136,000, Mr. Scott.
That's just a placeholder. I mean, if we ever sell property out at the.
Actually, we could remove that,
Yes.
because if we sell, then we would generate the
The
revenue.
revenue to pay him out of the proceeds.
That's right.
But Greg, when those proceeds supposed to go for playground equipment at that time? You think?
Most of we,
I thought that was supposed to go to District 5.
actually, we've taken care of the elements for that grant.
Okay.
And there's a revenue and expense, so you're not going to gain anything.
Right.
It's a wash.
Right, so you don't need to take this from your revenues. Just delete that one.
So 136, leaves Nina back to contingency.
Well, actually, it's.
No, you don't.
No,
even
it's even. You got revenue and an expense.
Yeah. All right, so that's nothing.
This is a zero.
Welborn Collection Site, construction, 200,000.
I'm gonna concede 50,000 of it right now.
50?
Man, this guy, he coming in,
That's
he
the
tight
50
today.
you needed, Franklin, yesterday.
What's
You
that?
have it. You needed 50 yesterday, he just gave it to you.
Well, yeah, but I need some more because we had the thing. I need
We got some stuff in your district we're gonna talk about.
Where's that? I don't see nothing on this list, did
Couple of
I?
roads you already got approved, we just want to take one of them off maybe for a little bit.
I already did.
I wanna keep 150 in there because, and I don't mind.
We're gonna have to do
that.
something. If we're gonna stay in the business that we're in, the way we're doing it, we've got.
Well, here's where I'm at with it. Okay, that's fine, but if we need it, we can put it back.
No.
Well, that's what we just did to Greg. That's what we just did to Clyde.
It wasn't 150 though.
Well, but it could be 100.
I'm gonna stick at 50 right now. If we do the rest of the day, we have to do
We can
something.
circle back to
All
it.
right, I'll concede.
We're
Did you
taking
take 50 out of that?
we're taking
50,000.
Taking 50 out. Lowering
So
it.
we're leaving that at 150. It's 150 instead of 200.
Okay, expansion, MTC shop landfill, 170,000, Mr. Harris.
Yeah, we have to have that. I added that 70 this year because of the tripling of the cost of materials.
Is there a plan to build that this year?
Yes, absolutely. I would have built it this past year if we'd had enough money, but I knew we didn't have enough money in there. We need to get that done,
Okay,
and the pole barn.
pole barn, is that the one we bid out, that we had all those
That was-
questions on, the
No,
trusses?
that's the road department.
So this is the road department?
landfill. No, this one's the landfill.
So we're,
The one that you bid out was the one for the road
I
department.
understand now.
well, wait a minute. We're building a shop and a pole barn?
That's correct.
Why don't we just make the shop way bigger instead of building a separate pole barn?
Won't you, yeah,
I don't have any problem with extending common trusses on out off the end. We could do that.
Lean to.
I mean, I get it probably ain't gonna change the money situation any, but I'm just
It
asking.
probably, well, I'll tell you what you do. Take, make that 95, 75. So what do you,
20,000?
yeah, just drop 20,000.
20,000 off the pole barn.
And that 170, 150, Mr. Harris?
That has to stay. Are you talking about both of those? Leach shaped tank isn't optional. We have to do
No, I
that.
was talking about the shop.
The shop has to stay that way. It's gonna take every bit of that to do what we have to do down there.
Those leachate tanks, so they've been on there forever.
Yeah, I know, but we've had problems with a number of issues that had to do with specifications. And we've had to find someone, we've got to create a spec that matches what someone can actually do. They're gonna go in there and blast the insides of those things, put liners on them. This isn't even replacement of the tanks. This is actually
Refurb.
big heavy-duty liners that go inside. They have to go in there and clean them all out and acid wash them and a number of other things and then fry them. and put-
Mr. Harris, if we had, I mean, why can't we circle back to this if we need it? I mean, it's been there for 3 years and we haven't done anything yet. Who's to say we're gonna do it this fiscal year?
We need to get it done before it breaks out through the steel walls on those things.
This 20,000 doesn't help y'all, I think it goes back into his contingency.
What, 20,000 you talking about, from the pole barn?
Yeah,
The way it's coded.
because it's landfill,
Oh, that's right.
or I mean, it's, collection.
That's a.
Cost assessment.
So it's gotta stay.
So it does, I mean, we can take it out, put it added to his contingency.
Well, if we can't move it over to the general contingency, just leave it like it is.
The leach had to be the same way with it.
Well,
Yeah, leachate tank would probably be the same
You're
thing.
not gonna be able to move it.
Yeah, assessment generated, yeah,
So what do we got now?
take that away.
$11.75.
So we generated 25 from the annex, 70,000 from the lift station, 25,000 from the tractor, 10,000 from salaries and wages, 22,000 from chip seal Suwannee Lake.
And 136.
Fif-
136 on
136.
the soccer field.
The soccer, yeah, but that was a zero, that's a wash.
Zero.
Nothing from the soccer fields, and then 50,000 generated from the Welborn collection side. How much was that total?
Well, if we're gonna look at that, then Melbourne's not affected either with your contingency. It's in
Solid
collection.
waste, yeah.
So mine's, we'll get rid of that too and leave it at 200 if that's what.
Yeah, might as well leave it alone if it's not
Not
finished.
fit.
Miss, these are those, was that money that was sat there,
So what's our
that
total?
200,000?
709,069.
Is it money we took out of our contingency and put in there? Could we not take it back, or was it money that was written?
How about that, Mr. Harris?
What was that?
If that money came out of general revenue to fund that thing, can we not bring it back?
To fund which
From
one?
That
the
collection
Global-
side.
That came out of our contingency. In general fund.
Where's it listed in the budget
Well, it's
though?
in collection, and we did fund 250,000 this current year over to collection from general, but,
That's what I'm saying.
I mean.
You should be
So
able to-
could we
But
drop
a
the,
different way.
Yes, you could.
yeah,
Yeah.
You could do that.
So
Just
we
reduce
take
the amount.
70. We could get the 70 back, the 20 from the pole barn and the 50 from the collection side, and just reduce the transfer from general fund from 250
yeah,
Just reduce it by 70.
yeah.
reduce the transfer in by 70.
We're gonna transfer it in.
You're transferring in $500,000 into disposal.
So reduce that by
This is collected.
This is
This
collection.
collections, we didn't transfer any in from collections.
Well, can you switch that up?
Should be able to.
Then you do 250 and 250?
Change the percentages.
Yeah, we can switch it up.
Or can you do if you don't need it in collection?
No, we'll change it, we'll just make the adjustment between the two, and then drop it by
By 70,000.
transfer in by 7.
You can just put 70 in collections and take 70 out of solid waste.
So I'm adding 50 back into this,
Actually,
You state the 50 still.
or
Yeah.
70.
You still take the 50.
That's what you get, we gave on the other
70,
side.
70, you're
70,
taking,
no.
yeah, you're taking 70.
70,000.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
The 20 from the pole barn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
779,069.
Hey, we didn't get nowhere, did we?
How much?
779, what'd you say, Christine?
069.
779,060. Well, we got almost 100,000. What was that total that we added back? I didn't have.
We could get to 100 if Carolyn will get back her other salary line, but
Carol, everybody else
There
is
we go,
giving,
everybody's playing Christmas around here.
except for Carolyn.
Gotta have that for your kid,
Oh.
for your kid came to my program. That's what that person does, is makes that
Hey,
happen.
my kid don't need $18,000.
No, but she's got, I gotta her for all the goods.
I'd say 152,000, am I right or wrong, Steve?
Hmm?
That we just,
Well, we
We
yeah,
just-
I didn't have it.
I didn't
we
either.
I wrote it
found out
down,
it
we were at
was 2 million.
698, 569 yesterday.
No, we're talking about just what we got here.
What we just found. The annex, the lift station, the
You
tractor,
know,
the other salaries, the Suwannee Lake, the pole barn, and the well barn.
There we go. That's all.
222.
which 698 plus 222, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta take away the
140,
141.
I thought we did that
That,
yesterday.
we did that
150.
yesterday.
No, what we
No,
did.
yep, that's it.
What we just-
Oh, the outside agents.
What we just
Well, I-
did this morning.
I thought we were gonna circle, we agreed to do
Yeah,
it. I thought we were
Yeah,
gonna
we
circle
already
normal.
kind of agreed to that.
Okay, get back.
What was that, Ms. Dean?
779,069.
269.
There you go.
Where else y'all want to start cutting?
I got, Mr. Chairman,
It was really,
I got one other idea that could get us 53,000. The chief might chunk a rock at me, but EMS contingency has 1.2 million, and I don't know that 53,000 is really gonna hurt you, but the general loan fire and EMS, the money to build the Lurville station. So we financed it in-house. The balance owed on that is only 3 years. They've been making annual payments of $17,720. There's roughly $52,997 left owed to the general. That would pay off the Lurville fire station. If that would not kill the chief, the 53,000, he could take that from contingency. pay
You'd be
off
paid
Lurville,
off.
And pay off the Lurville station. EMS you can.
Is that on my general side?
That's fire.
Well, he could
I'm
use,
taking out of fire.
That comes out of fire, because it
So
was a
you
volunteer
can add
fire
this
station.
contingency.
That's what I was thinking about.
It would just drop it to my contingency.
This would come out of, it
Um,
if you paid it off. I mean, if you,
well,
I was planning on wait
Okay.
until the end, but you guys got some tough decisions to make. You know, like I just discussed yesterday, we do a lot of our capital improvements out of that contingency, every year, you know, having to fund ambulances and different things. But I was looking at it, you know, I thought about this last night. Well, we dropped my contingency by an even 100,000 down to 1.1 and whatever the change is.
And we wipe out this one too.
Well, we can't wipe that out because it's in the fire budget.
Two different.
It's two, my two different sides of my budget. That's not general money, that's coming out of the fire budget, which is generated through the assessment.
I
So
think about that.
if we pulled it out, it would just drop it into my contingency because that's been paid for out of the fire budget.
Right.
But if we drop that EMS side contingency down, it'll give you another 100.
Yeah, I want to be clear, I wasn't picking on your department.
Oh, no,
I just saw that
it's
You've
there.
only got
and-
3 years left on it.
Yeah, no, that- yeah,
That
that's-
would lock that one out, and that
yeah.
deal, that Louisville deal is done.
Right,
Paid for.
yeah, so, but if I drop, if I take 100 out of that contingency, it'll still keep me in the area I need to be to be, to fund if anything comes up.
I got you.
With any revenue shortfalls and everything. That, like I said, that's my goal, is to keep it in that million range. Some years it may drop below it because we may have a project that we have to fund out of there, but.
Can I ask you this? Is there, probably a Nina question, is if we take 100 from him, is there any way to, or he gives us 100, is there any way to wipe out that Louisville station in another manner so that that's done and off the books and it's paid for and the money swapping's over with? I mean, is there any way to do that? I know it's in, the fire station is in.
3 votes.
Huh?
It's just 3 votes.
But how do we switch the money around? Because he's giving us some money out of EMS, but the building's in fire.
But the money originally came out of the general fund. I mean, we did an in-house finance when we built the building, and then fire's just been paying it back.
I got you.
So technically, originally, it was general fund money.
What I'm saying is, if you give us 100, I'd
Yeah.
like to see
This
No,
go
yes,
this go away.
Right.
I mean, take that away so you don't have to.
Right.
I mean, thank you for the 100, but knock this out. So you know.
Yeah, I mean,
So he'll be 150 to the good.
correct.
I mean,
Well,
he'll
he'll
be
be-
100 to the good. He'll be 50 to the good on
Yeah.
the fire side.
53.
Yeah, well, knock this
Right,
out.
it would raise the fire side because it's coming out of the budget, the expense line of the budget. So it would raise the fire budget by the 50, whatever the number, that total you said was. It would basically drop it in contingency, but the 100's taking care of that.
Right.
It's-
Yeah,
That'll work.
Yeah,
That'll work.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. That you
Right.
get something out of it too, and that
Right.
goes away, and
okay, yeah,
we're netting
yeah,
50, if you will.
right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Dave. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
We're gonna add $1 million back to the contingency from his budget.
Really?
Not a
No,
million.
200,000. 231,947.
No,
No,
you're taking 100 out of this.
100,000.
Right.
Not a
And then
million?
you, no,
Sure?
I'm positive. I take 100 out of
Counting
this.
zeros right now.
And then the 50 on the expense side of the fire, or the 17 out of the fire. It actually is only gonna raise the fire up 17 because it's an annual thing. How's that look?
Yeah, but can we expedite it, go ahead and knock it out so it's done? No, we don't keep doing that every year. I mean,
I'll do it.
We'll get it figured out.
We'll get it.
I mean, that's just y'all agree.
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm good. I think that's a good deal.
This was done 15 years ago. The board at that time voted to loan him the money, and my goal was to pay it off before I retire. But if y'all want to write it off, that's fine. Y'all make the decision. It's not me, but it's
Would
okay.
you like
I don't-
to ask the sheriff to come and see if he?
No, I don't write it off.
Everybody's in the giving mood, Sheriff. I'd hang a wreath up if I
There's something.
could, right?
I'll get rid of it.
I mean, he's giving us 100.
He's giving us 100 out of EMS, but we want to knock that off this fire.
Why that 52 off of his fire budget?
So we have 879,069. Y'all are almost back where you started from.
87906.
Right, Keith? Do you concur?
Yes, I agree.
Appreciate you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Anybody else?
Waiting on the sheriff to come up here. He's got the next biggest budget in the county.
Mr. Chairman, I think Mr. Baker had his hand up.
Did he?
He's back there.
Oh,
Mr. Baker, is you willing? You got some over there?
All right, I got
You holding out on us?
It's all right, I got some party coupons I can give you all.
oh, okay. Hey, I'm hungry. I missed my breakfast.
Well, that's where we're at, folks.
879.
879, 069.
So I guess we'll start with the wish list.
Well, I had that updated to your, the waste compression.
Yeah, oh yeah, we have to take care of that. How much?
I took out the fire rescue and the sheriff's portion of that for the law enforcement, and that comes down to 172,738.
So 172, 740, 173.
Yeah, we can
I'd make it
$173.
$180,000 because there's going to be adjustments throughout the year.
That's fine.
This is a
That's at a quarter for hourly rates that rather
quarter for
over
everyone.
One time 25 cents an hour extra.
for everybody over 12.50 an hour.
Correct.
So I can take 180 off of this one, 879.
Yes.
So we're at 779, 69.
It's
699, 069.
How much?
699, 069. Right,
What's the number, Nina?
699, 069.
Thank you.
Are you ready to move on? Is everybody good? Neil, Keith, y'all good?
I'm good.
Thank you guys for
Thanks,
putting that
guys.
together so fast.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I don't mind starting off here. If you turn to your second page on the other requests, unfunded, not the budget, very last item. At some point, it's my opinion that we need to hire our own utility person, okay? And we need some equipment, but we don't have to do it this year. It needs to be done, but it does not have to be this year. If you want to wait another year, that's a 3-year contract, but there's a provision in there for us to terminate the contract just by contacting them. We did check on that. But we don't have to do it this year. That's 84,000 that you could delete right now. But having said that, if you look back on your first page, on the first page, we had a zero toward the bottom where it says waterfront utilities. We had a pickup truck, we had a zero-turn mower and a utility trailer for a mower. We still need the mower and the utility trailer for the mower. We're gonna have to start running around mowing these things to keep these properties up. But I've got a question about mowers. And the question I have about mowers is one from Mr. Scott.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask.
Mr. Scott has more mowers than the dealership does. In that building right behind us on the airport, you got 3 or 4 zero-turn mowers in there. And in here, you've got a request for a big Hustler, 104-inch mower.
You were 72 for
Pardon me?
you were 72
He's willing to swap.
Okay, well, that's what I was gonna say. If
Yeah.
you got a good one over there that we could take, so that we can keep up with all these utility locations, then you could take that one off of here as well. There's, the one item, the mower that's in here.
And approve his
Just leave-
104.
Right, just leave the utility trailer in here.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
I was gonna ask the sheriff to add that to his maintenance list.
Well,
Save us
I
buying
don't have a
more.
problem with that, but I'm gonna tell you where we really need some help is downtown, around all of our buildings right now.
Chairman, I just wanted to point out, when you're looking at this wish list and those totals that are at the bottom, and Nina's got a new total now, But if you look at the two items that are on there, that are for EMS,
EMS, okay.
one on the equipment request, the $112,891 for the additional 5 Lucas machines. And on the other request, remount, rechassis, the 2 existing ambulances, the $522,172. That inadvertently was put into this total, but that's already in my budget. So you can drop the one down by 522, the other one down, and she's got those totals.
Well, we put it in there saying it was already in the budget, we should put it on in July, we didn't have to put it in there, but we were letting them know that it was already in there,
But
so.
that was in that $1.4 million total.
Yes, but I'm
Well, I got a-
lost track of where we were at now. Last thing I got was no utility employee.
Mr. Mark, while you're here, I got a question on that generator at EOC.
Yes.
Is that thing not repairable, or?
Well, what had happened was, before I came on board, they put a generator in place there and they had a manual transfer switch on it. A couple of years back, it was requested that an automatic transfer switch be put on the EOC, if y'all remember that. Well, when you go to try to turn it on, you find out that the line voltage coming in is 3-phase 208 and the generator that was installed is single-phase 240.
Wow.
So therefore, the automatic transfer switch will not work. It's still a manual transfer switch, and it's got to be done to make that work. We have to change the generator out or change the transformer. It's kind of a wash how much it's going to cost. Actually, the transformer is a little more to do that. However, the generator that's there could be placed at the fuel island down at Public Works, down by our shop, because the generator we have there is on its last leg. So it's not like we wouldn't use the one that we're gonna have to remove. We just have to change it out.
But you're saying if it stays, it can still stay at EOC?
It can
it's just
stay
a
in
manual-
EOC, it just has to be used as a manual transfer switch. It will not automatically transfer. The solid state circuitry in it, when you try to do that, it fries it every
Yeah.
time.
Oh, I get it. And
And if you want to leave it that way, by all means, it can be done.
We're doing design on the EOC building now, so my thing was,
That's your call.
you know,
Mhm.
if we can get by with it until we figure out what we're gonna do with an EOC building, that's.
Sure. Sure, and Sheriff, well, we can collaborate with your staff, and if we have something, they can call our on-call number, and we'll send a guy to go do it.
Yeah, that's-
I don't want anybody else's hands in there, they don't need to be in there.
That's fine, Chairman, just leave it like it is, we'll get by,
We've been working on that for a
Yeah.
while, so that was kind of my question was, we're gonna do this anyway, let's wait and see if it's.
You just say that, like,
Gotcha.
Thank you.
So we're
Scratching that for you.
And the one below it, he said was already in the budget.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Lynn.
did Mr. Harris, did we agree to scratch that employee for now for the utilities?
Yes.
Yes, well, that's what I requested, we could hold off for another year.
Yeah, I agree with that. It did, and back to the front page, the 3 bottom ones, what, I missed, what y'all decide on the mower?
The only thing we're gonna keep out of those last 3 is the utility trailer.
For just the trailer?
Yep. Just the trailer.
You know, I don't know, I know it's not for a utility operator, but that pickup, there's a bunch of need for some pickups
Well, I need trucks bad, but
in public works, because some of them I would
if
do.
you leave that truck in there, I'd be thrilled, because
Can we get it for that now, though? I mean,
I can find something.
Well, I'm sure he can scrape if it's a difference to get the truck.
If we talking about pickup truck, Mr. Harry, that truck that, at Ford, that they had pulled the line of the field to start up, it needs to be gone. You still got that truck?
I'd have to look and see, we've got some that you gotta open the door and drag your foot to stop them.
You have to.
Well, there's some of them we're just spending so much money on repairs on them, so it's just not, it's just crazy to keep
We
doing.
put transmissions in them, we put motors in some of them.
And then motors and transmissions is high now, I think.
Yeah.
Like it used to be.
If you wanna leave that truck in there,
I would suggest
we'll
leaving it,
put it to use.
but that's the board's decision. That's just for me looking around and and hearing the complaints and seeing
We're in
what's
bad
going
shape on trucks, I'm not kidding you. In fact, I'll just tell you, 3 or 4 years ago, we budgeted, I think it was $50,000 for 5 used pickup trucks. And you can't find it for that.
You can't even get them.
No.
You do, they're wore out.
We used to be able to, but we
All right,
can't now.
so that water plant truck at 42, what are you gonna transfer that to?
You wanna leave it
Back to Public Works?
Just put it in, just put it in, road department is what we would do.
No, she said.
The utility trailer for the mower,
Mm-hmm.
we've got contingency in the water plant, 3 different departments.
So why don't-
50,000 each, so this is not part of, are you splitting this 3 different, who gets the utility trailer, the catalyst side or the?
It was actually for utilities, to haul the mower back and forth between the 3 different utilities. That's what it was for.
So this would come out of our contingency, because you've got a little bit in each one of your departments.
Well, we could do it out of the contingency. It's unlikely that I'd have to have maintenance in each one of them. We've just set them up as standalone.
How much is it
individual.
on, Lee?
15 each.
15,000? So, yeah, so 2,500 for a trailer ain't gonna hurt much.
That won't
But
hurt
that
us.
brings us back to the pickup truck, he ain't got 42, so you're.
I'd move that to the road
Road
department.
department.
So
So the
2,500 for the utility.
2,500 is not an issue. Now, Doug, you've got 140 in road department contingency. Do you wanna use that for that or for your truck?
I'm gonna tell you what concerns me about the road department right now is the cost of pipe, cost of asphalt. Now, we've never, we adjust lines as we have to toward the end of the year. But right now, we're getting hit hard on, even paint, striping. We've been waiting 2 months for paint, and all those numbers are up really high right now, so I don't even know what to tell you about this. I hope all this stuff starts going down, but it hasn't yet. Keeps going up.
Yeah.
So,
What about this air burner for the tree debris? I know we talked about it
If
last
you
year.
wanna wait another year on that, we'll just roll the dice. This thing is run every day
Can we just pile it up and burn it?
for 10 years, pardon me.
Can we just pile it up and burn it? Why we got another air burner?
Because of the emissions, you have to keep it really hot to keep it running clear.
I was just.
And they come out and inspect us on it.
Oh, okay. Well, we wouldn't do it in Franklin, man. I just pile it up and burn it.
Yeah.
so the truck, we're sending over to the road department the money
Ready.
from this contingency.
Well, if you think we can squeeze by the air burn, we'll scratch you.
We can hold off on the air burner another year, but we really are having problems with parts on that. But maybe we can make it another year. We'll hold that one.
Y'all jumping around like my 2-year-old.
Well, I'm just trying to,
I'm flipping back and forth.
well, I'm just trying to get to what I think is pretty much a necessity for
So
it.
can we go back and look up, I'd like to start off here at General
Sure.
Airport, 4210,
Sure.
the pickup truck?
Mr. Scott?
I'm trying to
So
think.
you
That's
know, the ESC generator,
what I'm saying, yeah.
Correct, no generator.
and the 112's already in the EMS's budget. Now we're all back to the airport.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry.
That's okay, I'm with y'all.
On the airport, when we're on the backside mowing the berms and things, if we get stuck, we have nothing to pull us out. So we really need a pickup truck. The other thing is the truck we've got is one that our rescue had, an old dually, 2-seater dually that probably, I don't know what year that thing is, but all I see is sitting there dripping. Anyway, we could really use the truck. The mower, it will slow us, it'll speed us up on mowing. It gives extra 32 inches, we'll make a pass. And I'd be glad to give up the 72 to Randy. I've got another 61 we probably could put somewhere when we get through the sausage making. So,
Listen, if you've got extra mowers, we need them bad, real bad. we've got work around here and just all over the place. We don't have mowers.
So we're gonna take the, we've already established, we're gonna take the zero turn off that Mr. Harris wanted
Right.
and get you the Hustler 104.
Right.
So y'all did approve, you got the mower, Keith?
26,000?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You think you can buy that truck for $38,000?
I thought we wanted a truck.
Well, we are.
That's
He
the
was clarifying
question we
it.
got from Alan J. or whatever, but it's gonna be tight.
You got that number?
Yep.
Because that's what we just paid for that, single cab,
Oh, really?
four-wheel drive, Tuesday.
You may need to bump it up a little bit then. Did you get you got a current price on and the idea of the standard cab is sometimes when people come in, they need a ride, different places, you know, we've got the courtesy car, sometimes that's taken with somebody else, taking them somewhere else to, you know, downtown or whatever, courthouse, whatever.
I've got another courtesy car down there at our office if you need it. I mean, our people use it.
Yeah, we've got two cars, but we need a.
They need something that runs.
How, Sheriff, what do you pay for them pickup trucks you've been buying?
It's 38 more.
Those are four-door trucks?
Four-door, four-wheel drive, so they're 38, right? Yeah, 38.
Currently?
This was gone.
They're 38.
Mr. Scott, what's, the courtesy car down there, is that an older car down there?
Right, it's an old car.
Is there a way that we could just, if we get this truck, do we get rid of that mess? We just have the truck for the courtesy, a new truck?
No, but we could keep the courtesy car that's a decent, a Crown Vic that nobody complains about. We've got another car we could, the old sheriff car that we could roll a power that's a.
You ought to just buy a little van for the, airport.
I'm just saying I'd like to get, I love your idea of having something, but I would like to have something.
Right. Well, most people, when they're courtesy cars that are going places, is a used sheriff car. That's kind of normal. And this gold is one that came from Extension, so it's prettier than the white ones.
Sheriff, was that the right number?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Where do y'all, is that off the sheriff's list, or do y'all do something
It's a
different?
state bid, yes, sir. And y'all should be able to get the same price.
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Can I buy one too?
No, this is the FSA contract, it would last, we got waiting for some come in from Gerber Ford out of Keystone Heights right now. Either that or Barton Ford, either Barton Ford or Gerber, so it's getting all through the FSA contract.
I've been supportive of the new truck though, for Mr. Scott.
Which one, the airport one or the recreation?
38,000. One or the other?
This,
Is that quad four?
Yes. It's an extended cab. We don't need a big seat, but.
So the 38, we're gonna do,
And the
26, we're gonna do, and now we're at the 45 for recreation,
Yes.
right?
is that the one you were gonna use for Brantford and all?
No, we didn't, we hadn't got to negotiations with Brantford yet to get to that one, so we need to add another one there if you want to do it for Brantford also.
Add another?
Remember yesterday we talked about the Brantford,
But if they give us money back,
well, that's for improvements. We'll have enough funds to run things down there through the South County money. It's the initial investment of getting us the equipment we need to go take care of them. We like the idea of an extended or a service body, that way you keep things locked up, so you don't have this, it's not.
Well, have you already got a service body now you're replacing? Is that what?
No. We've just got two, and the guys really love that service body because they can take more things with them on the job, and if they need to fix something, they can fix it while they're there, so they haven't to run to Howland or somewhere to get parts.
But what I'm getting at is this a truck, some kind of truck we're replacing?
Yes. We have an old 06 Chevy 3/4 ton extended cab.
Service body or not?
No. We didn't know about
Is it any
service bodies for
good?
a long time. It's fair.
I mean, could it be used in the road
Oh,
department?
yeah, we've got a lot of
Yeah,
stuff
we
that's
will always
share or less.
shuffle around anything we get. We never really get rid of anything. We just shuffle.
Repurposing.
What kind of number are we at now?
593.
Those that, you know.
Could we get by without the Brantford truck for a while if we had to?
Yeah, we can use the one we just got from Ricky. You know how they say that we get Brantford all the redhead stepchild stuff? We would confirm that. But no, we could do that. We'll shuffle around.
So we're gonna give Mr. Harris for the road department the old truck if you get the new one.
Right, and actually, it's not a extended cab, that was, I think it'd probably be a single cab,
with a
just a 3/4 ton.
Oh, the one you're gonna give him?
Right.
That's fine, we'll take, as long as it runs. If it doesn't, we
It runs
put, we put a new motor and transmission in it if we have to, it's not a problem.
It runs real good downhill.
Good, we're used to that.
It scares me when you wanna give it away that bad.
Is this a recreation truck or the airport truck?
Recreation.
Recreation.
45,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Doing the airport truck at 38 and the recreation truck at 45. Scott goes to them.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The truck that, I guess this is Dennis's truck,
Right,
what's the plan to do with it?
move it over to the road department. We take the one that's running now and move it over.
Like usually about, what, 3 trucks now? Extra,
Yeah.
that we didn't have?
Well, some of them, they won't have to sit each other's laps anymore to get the job done. They'll appreciate this.
Is there any contingency in solid waste for that?
Are we on $40,000?
Yes, ma'am.
That's right.
Well, you know, back a couple of pages before, we're gonna take money from solid waste, because they'll probably end up washing, I don't know. We'll have to go back and look at that, the pole barn and the well barn. That we're gonna save money with. Hold on a minute. He's got $36,800.
Yeah.
36.8 and 351.
But now we're not going to fund him. Pole barn, we'll have a 70 and a.
We're only taking part of the.
We took 20 off the pole barn,
Good morning.
and we took 50 off the collection side.
You said it was what?
Which is gonna save us having to fund you for that, but now we're back to funding you for the truck anyway. If y'all wanna keep the money he's got in contingency.
I don't know if this is right or not, because I wrote it down again, but on solid waste transfer, I wrote down 351,266 in contingency. Why did I write that down?
Are you in disposal or collection? Transfers disposal.
Yeah. On page 2 of the expenses.
Yes, it's 2 different.
No, I'm talking about collection with his truck, because he's got Department 3410,
Could it
so.
be put in the other one? Mr. Harris?
Yeah, I saw the 38 in the front one, but tab 45, I don't know that that's.
Yeah.
I'm showing 351, that's not where I got that from.
Hold on.
That's something we must have talked about yesterday. But I didn't write down a side note. I scratched through 76,000, which was what was printed, 76,266, and I wrote down 351,266. What did we do yesterday? I didn't write a footnote.
Was it leachate tanks?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so. No, that don't sound right.
No, we've only got 7.
Well, we got rid of the 2 million for the waste hauling and dropped it to
That's what we did.
$1,750,000.
And we left that, and we moved it to.
We moved it to
That's why we
contingency.
did that.
And that gave us 351,266
Yep.
in disposal.
That's what, I didn't write the
So
number.
if disposal wants to buy the truck instead of collection,
I think that's what we need to do.
It'd be the easiest.
Well, because if it comes up short, we're gonna put the money in there anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
so buy the truck out of disposal,
Yes, ma'am.
it's just 34 too many and all the contingency there, so that costs you nothing. And it'll still leave him a little bit of contingency left,
Good bit.
a good bit. A little bit.
And that's 3420. Oh, this man, the disposal was 3420.
Yes, sir.
We're to the Douglas Center air conditioner.
That's it for me for this first page.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I offer we figure out where to put some money with this.
Well, he's got 170 already.
Yeah, the other one is an escrow.
I don't even know what land condition you call it.
$600,000.
Which is crazy.
That's a window unit. It's actually insulating, it's the insulation, everything else that goes with it. I mean,
Yeah.
it isn't as simple as just air conditioning. There's a whole lot more to it.
What did it cost, excuse me, but what did the cost cost? Does anybody know that?
I don't remember, that was done under an energy saving grant of all things, as best I recall.
Can't get
I
one for the Douglas Center.
thought it was like
I can't get any grant, sir.
I've got it at the office, but I don't have it on.
Yeah. No, that building has to be insulated and electrical upgrades, there's a myriad of things, and you gotta do an equipment yard for it. You know, it's not just put an air conditioner on
And
Hey,
there. That'll make
can we,
it good.
Mr. Chairman, can we, y'all mind leaving that at 150, let's move on down and see what we end up with, and maybe add some back to it, or to try to get there quicker? I mean, I know that
Well, we're-
myself, Commissioner Stapleton, and Commissioner Fleming were all at Powell's luncheon back in July.
Definitely.
Yes, and when they turned those fans off, those fans at the top, for about an hour and a half, I think the temperature went up 15 degrees, and as soon as they turn them back down, but it gets hot.
where are we at now?
548, 069.
Take off 150, and where are we at?
Take off 150 for that. 498, 398, 069.
I mean, I'm fine with moving
For
on
the air
along, we'll come back.
conditioner.
You
Y'all wanna leave it alone though, or you wanna take it out?
Back to it.
Go back to it.
No, I wanna leave 150 in there for the Douglas Center.
Yeah,
But
but-
what I was saying is going down the list here, and if we cut some of this other stuff out, maybe we make that 175, or maybe we make that 200 to try to.
Yeah,
I mean, he's
so-
got 170 already in the budget, and this 150 gets us, so a third of the way there roughly. If we can add another 50 or something to it, I mean,
Yeah,
it gets us,
I know it won't be right now, but, you know, at least we can put some money in there and get it done.
Well, you know, in 2 more years, those figures are gonna be different.
Yeah.
hopefully less.
I wouldn't bet
I
on that.
don't bet on
I
that.
wouldn't bet on that.
But we're saying we're moving 150 right now, so that, give us that new number was 398?
Oh, 69, yes.
Okay, that's our new number.
Mark, is there any way to go ahead and start the process, like redoing the electrical or whatever? Is there something we can be doing to get ready for the air
I'm
conditioner?
not quite sure that we could try to do it in phases.
We can do all the
You
insulation.
could do the insulation first.
Just say
All these sprays.
170.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm kind of getting at. We got some money here already set aside. Instead of just waiting till we got all the money, let's, while stuff, you know, we just go ahead and do what we can.
I think the installation, yeah.
If you display that insulation.
So you can do the insulation, electrical to me then would be the next big thing that you'd need to do in there.
You spraying that foam on it, right?
that was gonna be, we'll go back and reevaluate how we wanted to go about that. I would recommend, closed cell licensing personally.
Well, if you do that, you gotta redo the electrical first, because you're gonna spray over the top of that stuff, ain't you?
No, package units on the outside.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, you do package units and then do what we call socket duct on the inside. So it just hangs, kind of, you've ever been in Tractor Supply?
Well, I didn't know if you meant the
The
electrical for the lights and stuff, has any of that gotta be redone?
No, we just redid all the lighting, it's all LED lighting in there, so we actually reduced the load on that portion of it. But the air conditioner's gonna pull so much that we're gonna have to come straight off the transformer for that exterior service.
Well, I'd like to entertain getting quotes on doing the insulation.
Yeah.
Insulation light.
Well, and the electrical, you probably do both then, as far as having it ready, to set the units.
Whatever, however far it'll be.
Right now, the biggest problem with electrical is gonna be materials.
Yeah.
That insulation really helps stabilize that temperature from those.
Oh, yeah.
flames.
Did y'all say
Winter
we're
and
gonna
summer.
add this to the 170 or the
Yes,
budget
ma'am.
Noble Center under Department 1110?
Yes.
One of the concerns that I have with the insulation is the fans that are in there, when you do that, you actually need to insulate it across the top of the fan. Now, we can always come back and do a panel over that at a later date, because when you do air conditioning, those fans are gone.
Oh, the louvered exhaust fans, yeah.
I would not, like you said, I'd come back and do those later.
Box them out and,
Well, they're kind of boxed in now, so we can come back and
Go over it, so you can still utilize them in the summer or
Right.
whatnot, and then when we go add a unit, then
Fill them in.
up.
They did when we replaced the fiberglass panels, what, 2 years ago, something like that. They used the 2-inch insulation there that needs to be ripped out so that you could actually spray the isolene over the top of it, because that other's is garbage. Okay, if y'all give me direction to start pulling that, we'll get some numbers for you on it.
What does it do?
Okay.
Why do you look good?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, thank the board, for considering. I know that money's tight and the way that we're going at, but every year you suffer in there doing that pal. We have the luncheon and stuff, and Commissioner Stapleton and Commissioner Lamb was sitting in there, you know, been in numerous times, it's stifling, it's hot in there. You shut those fans off, and even in here, when the air wasn't working right, it was difficult. So, it ain't that we're not trying to do anything, it's just that the money just ain't quite there, and we're trying to get it done.
well, while you're there, Mr. Mark,
Mhm.
Commissioner Hill, you was gonna ask him something?
No,
I was gonna move on down to this renovate for your Coliseum,
that's what I
renovate
was gonna ask, yeah.
Coliseum bathrooms.
Okay.
You said that wasn't just the Coliseum bathrooms, is that right? Yesterday you was telling me, because I was asking, it's about $120,000, or somebody just staff was telling me that.
Yeah, give us a 30-second sketch on what the problem is with the piping that's causing something to back up over there.
The biggest problem there's 2 different problems. The front, I think the biggest problem there is the pitch on the pipe initially was just not, it was too shallow. It wasn't steep enough. So we're getting a little bit of issue when the Coliseum has large capacity crowds in there. We have issues. Ms. Saff's issue is another issue, and it's flushing hand towels, and there's a couple of places that when large clumps go through there, it binds up, and then we're over there dealing with it. Those can be resolved pretty easy, but there again, y'all mentioned it the other day, we're all over the place, and that was a low priority list when we can unplug it, you know. But we do know what to do with that one. Now, the Coliseum, it's not just the drainage on it. Those bathrooms, Greg, they're about the 60s. Around the 60s when the last renovation was done on it. Yeah, they're just in bad shape. And we're using that facility considerably more now than we have since I've been working for the county. So if we're gonna bill out for it, we need to give them a product worthy of the charges that they're getting.
Is it cast iron?
Is it cast iron?
PVC?
Is that cast iron under there?
No, PVC. We could probably put some smaller lift stations out front and move it if we needed to. The problem is the amount of fall from where it is to the lift station for the city. You can't go but so low, you know, but we can get it, we could go in there and deal with the problem. And more than likely in-house.
So is it $120,000 a good number?
For the complete renovation, yeah, to do the floors, I mean, we just need to do the whole bathrooms, they're really bad. But
The foyer, Greg, what's the plan there? Mark?
Okay, Greg and I spoke on that also, the carpeting and stuff that is in there. We didn't look at any expansion, did we, Greg, at this point? We were just talking about redoing the carpet and painting out and opening up that little front area where they have the little crock pots and stuff that they put in there. Just trying to open that up and finding a better way to utilize that area. That's, again, you know, everything could be put on hold, but do you really want to go there?
While you're standing there, the upgrade cooling tower.
Yes. That's a need. That's a need. We're pushing our chillers right now. We're running low saturation points. We're not able to remove the heat that we need to right now, especially with these 90% humidity days, 105 degree outside air temperatures. We're pushing at about a 3-degree differential when we need 5 or better.
Now, what we need is just air conditioning for the people that's watching them. The ones that's
Yeah.
in there, they don't need nothing but a window.
But what I'm giving you here is an upgrade on the towers themselves to gain 50% additional capacity out of them instead of replacing.
Weren't we escrowing or doing something for this already?
You were escrowing the jet.
Yeah, we've been escrowing
generator
for the chiller. That's just the generator. That's.
Do we do the whole push-up deal in?
Well, this is for the courthouse.
Oh, this is for the courthouse.
This does both buildings, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Does the sheriff got a little more stuff?
I keep trying.
Not that much.
He's shaking his head.
Heather, looking at you back there, not the sheriff for this one. She's got the book in her lap.
There ain't any one-way streets in Live Oak, but there is one at the sheriff's department.
We've been giving back.
What about the HVAC control of the courthouse?
The problem with them is antiquation. If we have a lightning strike and we lose modules in there, you can't get another one.
There's no good news across the street.
We should have started there before we did anywhere else.
Yeah.
I like how it says to avoid catastrophic
Catastrophic.
failures in here.
That's under on that.
I try to be good at wording stuff for you guys. I'll let you know this is a need, right?
Needs you to play Scrabble with me.
That's $345,000.
Yep.
Not including the $10,000 for the foyer, that's $355,000.
We do that, we're done.
Good enough.
Yeah. I mean, which of those two, and I hate to put you on the spot, but which one's,
What's the priority?
yeah.
Well, out of the air conditioning side of it, the cooling tower would be the chief priority. I possibly could manually make things work in the courthouse if we had a failure, but it's not going to be efficient. It's not going to work right. I'm going to freeze somebody or I'm going to heat somebody up.
How many times has that happened recently? This is my question.
I'm waiting on a board right now for the jail. I mean, they're connected, but they're not connected. The jail was upgraded. If you remember, y'all took care of that last year. Well, we skipped this year. We didn't have to do it, but now we're on the courthouse. And the courthouse, we're trying to get them where they're both talking the same language. We're all working on the same page because it is automated controls, the building automation. The cooling tower would be number one. I mean, if you had to push it out, that would be the necessity to me. Just because if the cooling tower goes down, it's all down.
Yes.
Historically, there's been times when the judges have a pool of money that you've asked them to tap into things. So I don't know how much they've got, but they do have money also. So
That was my next question.
I know we got some.
Well, we got some from them last year.
For the generator.
Yeah, on the generator, they just put in, I don't know how much, you know.
Yeah.
48 something.
They're spending a lot on IT stuff right now.
Yes.
Everything in the room, so.
They want to stay cool.
You got to ask
I'd be digging in my pocket if that's what it was.
Mr. Chairman, while you're sitting here, I can help you with, or what I consider an easy decision right here on the pool code. Pool code is going for $10,000. You support that? I'm in support of that. Entertain.
Letting the boosters, I don't know.
Yeah, they're splitting. It's a split. Isn't that right, Mr. Scott? On the
School board's giving 10,000, y'all would do 10,000, the boosters would be about 3 or 4, depending on whether you want to file
Well, before we go much further here, what's the plan? Because if you do most of this right here that he's talking about, some necessity,
I think
where are we gonna pull some more money from?
I think that's what we're gonna do is maybe go back to some of the other budgets and ask them.
When you look at it this way.
Well, this is what.
Every time you
You know, let's get some money.
Hold on, now. Let me explain this to you. I love this chairman to death, but he took my britches off. I mean, I got rid of my 112 property.
I got rid of my road.
When I went down in the south end and bought some property.
My road was $3 million.
Your road's still there though.
It is dirt.
Well, I'm afraid both of our roads is just on the list. Neither one I'm afraid is going to.
I'll say, I've been in here 6 years, I ain't got a road paved yet.
Right.
It's still on the list, trying to get approved.
Now we're threatening to only do half of it.
Oh, gotcha, sorry. Sir?
I said, now we're threatening to only do half of it, because there may not be enough left.
That's what's scary.
Look here, all I can tell you is we've pretty much been through everything. It's either gonna pull it out of CARES or you just ain't gonna fund it.
No, we're gonna,
I mean, that's what we got to do.
Hey, I got, what about this?
Yes, sir.
Nina, how much is left in CARES?
3.8.
I guess I got that one, too.
3.8.
3.8.
I don't like spending money.
Well, that additional Douglas Center funds 2022, is that part of that 170 that's sitting
No, I
in
don't
there?
know what that 300,000 is for. Do we know what that 300,000 is for Douglas Center?
No, not 350.
50. It's 50 to 300.
50,000.
Chip seal.
Oh, 50,000. Is that something?
We added some last year. It was toward the end of the workshop, best I remember, there was some money added. And I think it is part of the 170 probably. That's currently in there. I just don't remember what we had before that when we came in here last year, prior to that.
170 is what we've been rolled, that's what I don't think it's part of that. The 50 would be something that happened this time.
You want to share?
As I can remember at the end of last year's
I don't
budget,
remember anything happening.
there was some money that was returned back, and I think I asked for that $50,000.
No, it came out of CARES money.
I'm sorry. Commissioner Lane, did you have an idea where to take some money?
Yes, sir.
Where, I'm listening.
I was gonna ask Mr. Harris, will 500 on your admin addition, two questions. One, you've already told us, I think yesterday, that that's absolutely necessary to be done, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Is there any way, any possibility it could be done for less?
I wouldn't even venture to go there right now.
Okay, well, the reason I asked you for that is because that's a capital improvement project, and if you thought it could potentially be done for $100,000 less or $50,000 less, that being a capital improvement project, that's the only one that jumps out at me. That's a big number that you could potentially use that funding from CARES
I mean, if it
to
were,
switch it.
if y'all got in a bind, I would take all of it, all the 500 out of the CARES and put 500 back in contingency.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm
What I
saying.
suggested yesterday.
But I'm not wanting to.
I think it's easily gonna take 500,000.
I'm just trying to hang on, be very careful with that CARES, you know, like this.
Well, I don't disagree with
Just go take this from CARES, take that from CARES.
I don't disagree, I mean, and it takes a lot of cash flow to float grants. We've got a pile of grant applications in right now too. So it takes a pile of money, but that's an easy one. That's why I mentioned it yesterday, was do the building with the CARES funds and then release that 500,000 back into your contingency.
Well, Mr. Harris, I've got a question for you. What did it cost? I had $350 out there for 10 days. Project.
What did it cost for 10A?
I'm saying in that line item.
Well, I don't know, I'm gonna guess that, now I've already reconciled in the road department those numbers. Because I gave all of you numbers a couple months ago and brought them all down, much lower than what we had budgeted. So I would say when we're finished, we might have $50,000 in it.
Yeah.
But it's like 250, I think we budgeted $300,000 and maybe we've spent 55,000.
So then that meeting, we reconciled all the numbers.
We already reconciled all of that.
That's the only thing that jumps out at me, guys. But the only thing, what I'd say to that is if the board chooses to use 500,000 out of CARES to do that admin building, you don't want that 500 to turn into 800 and we got in a bind, then you take another 300 out of it for the construction or something like that. I mean, I just want us to be leery of that CARES fund. I don't want it to run away from us because that's kind of our nest egg that just appeared.
Yeah.
Well, it is.
It's non-reoccurring.
Yeah, I mean, it just landed in our lap and we got it. I don't want to just start blowing through that. That's why I was going to do just a capital improvement project, so we kind of hold it, not just take that and kick this sooner or later. You just take. When you look back, like, man, we just nickel and dime ourselves to death, it's all gone.
So let's,
Is it in his budget or our budget?
Excuse me a minute.
No, I think it was in 1110, Nina. Found it?
Yes,
1110.
it's in here. So what y'all are saying is it would stay in there, only come from a different pot of money,
Right.
which means you could add.
Reduce our balance on,
98.
reduce our balance on CARES, put 500 back into your contingency.
Anybody else out there got any bright ideas? I'm all ears. Mr. Norris, Scott, Barry. Crickets.
Nina Keith.
I was just gonna say that 75 might not be enough to renovate my building, so we might need to reconsider that.
You on the wrong way.
You're going the wrong way, you be quiet.
Well, y'all took 20 miles out of the 100 last year for us, so.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, just take it all then.
that's it, man.
Yes,
Well,
even his-
Wait on Chairman,
thought is, we need to go back, and I apologize for not doing this before. On the airport funds, what is airport has to stay airport per FAA. I'm not sure if that's just grants, or if that's other monies, but when we're generating revenues, we need to go back at the end of last year, previous year, I know we've already spent that, but in the future, if we've got money left over at the end of the year that we profited from the airport, you can take that money, put it in contingency for equipment and that sort of thing. So, I don't know if they've already projected those funds that we might have left over in our budget, that we could take the truck money or more money out of, and maybe spread out a little bit. But,
Like from the profit, from your rentals and from your, fuel
sale.
sales and.
All revenue.
Yeah, do we know what that projected forecast would be? Nina?
It's always been in general revenue, I mean, we have to sort it out and keep it separate, but still all in general revenue. We can't just move it to recreation.
yeah, I would put it back in the airport without recruiting.
So when you.
But
so-
it's a manual accounting entry, you would have to figure out what he made, what he sold, minus the expenses for salaries, to see if he's even making a profit, and the difference on that would go to his contingency. Kinda like Eddie's contingency.
You'd have to set it up as an enterprise fund is what you would do essentially. Just keep all of your revenues and expenses in.
I mean, it would be in its own little fund, it stays in the general fund, but we don't charge an assessment for it.
Yeah, but it'd be nice to know what what those revenues were at the end of the year, so like what he said, he may not have to come to us and ask it, he can say, well, hey, we had $50,000 profit from fuel sales over the last 12 months, we need a mower, we're gonna put that in our budget, but we're gonna use that $50,000 to do it, or a truck, or whatever it is, versus, I mean, there's just more items you can get off the wish list that you can incorporate to the budget using the revenue that he generated from that particular department. I don't know how you do that, government accounting wise, but that's what I do.
Well, you can do it going forward.
Right. Yeah, you couldn't back up, you already got that.
Yeah,
covered
push it
somewhere
backwards,
else.
but starting.
And another thought,
He's got fuel inventory too, they may buy fuel at the end of the year, which looks like he's at a loss when he's gonna sell it next year. So you gotta count the inventory and all that, it's like a little mini accounting fund, it's all in itself, when you start doing that, you gotta be consistent, is what I'm saying.
The fuel is what really throws you off. I mean, it feels like the vape tank knows that. We run the same problem over at the floor. Depends on what time of year you're filling those tanks.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Harris, for the sake of time and accomplishing things, let's take the 500,000, put it in the contingency where we can move on. We're all in agreement, we're gonna build that building, renovate it.
Yep.
We'll get started on that, you gotta get plans drawn, you tell us more what you
Well,
need.
we've got the floor plans done. We've got a few other things to do, but I think you just need to agree that you're gonna do it out of CARES.
That's fine, but I'm saying, for the sake of, let's roll it, let's take that money and do it, and we got the CARES money to do what we need to do for you.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that if that's,
I'm good.
if you've got three, if you've got three up there that are.
I'm just saying, let's do something.
All right, so with that, if we do that, Ms. Nina, what number do you have?
898,
What I got, okay.
69.
Let's get these bills paid.
But our CARES reserve would go down 500,000.
At the time,
Know that.
yeah, but can we get consensus up here to fund that as he spends it, or do y'all wanna go ahead and do it now?
I would just assume fund it as.
Go ahead and budget it now, because we're gonna bid that out.
And if you don't use it, it's gonna roll back into that pot anyway.
What's up, yeah? I mean, he's already told us that he don't see it coming in less than that.
I just put it in there and we'll know once we've got bids.
Well, if it comes in less, it comes in 400, then I'd put that 100 back at CARES and not let it.
Right.
So,
I mean, it's gotta come before the board anyway.
yeah, I said it roll back into the CARES, that's fine. Yeah, that's what I said.
Well,
So,
it's in the general fund anyway. It's in line 10. It isn't in another
true.
department.
That's true.
So it's gonna go back in regardless.
Let's go.
so we're gonna renovate the Coliseums, is there consensus on that?
Well, I mean, we need to discuss those two versus.
I would like to ask a question to Mark also. What do you foresee you can get done in a year? I mean, do we do part of this and you start on it? Or is this gonna take 6 months before you're even able to get started, or you gonna be able to get materials? I'm just saying.
Well, the materials on my side is the big thing, and then are we gonna sub any of this out? You know, we're running manpower short right now.
Well, when you were figuring these, like the upgrade to the cooling tower, was that subbed out or?
Yes,
So that's already figured in?
that's all figured in.
And you said that was the #1 priority?
Yes, sir.
So consensus to upgrade the cooling tower, is that good with everybody?
Yes, sir.
Good with me.
At the jail and courthouse?
Yep.
And then, for the HVAC upgrades, we'll revisit that next budget year. Was that what we're, kind of where we're at right now?
If that's what you're.
If we can make it, if we can make it.
If you do not, you just have to come back and
You
ask
have to come
for
to
it.
us.
We'll do the best.
We understand.
We'll do the best we can. Okay.
What did we decide on policy?
We haven't yet.
Okay, I'm sorry.
But we are taking out the 100,
We are taking out-
125.
Yes, the 125.
Okay.
The repair bleachers at, we hadn't talked about this, repair bleachers at the Douglas Center Gym, what do we do, is that a need?
It's a liability for the county, yes. And the reason I say that is because we have children involved with PAL and all that. Those bleachers have not been assessed until last year, right, Greg? That when we had Champion come in, they came in, they assessed the bleachers. They have to meet a certain criteria, a certain level for the liability aspect of children involved. And this is to bring them back up to the standard that they're supposed to be at.
They're gonna, that mean they're gonna replace them or they're gonna repair them?
Repair.
They cost $25,000 to do it?
25,000, yeah, there's way more bleachers here than what he's talking about.
Well, I'm in support of doing that.
And these are movable bleachers, if y'all,
Right.
if any of y'all remember them, that's probably the biggest problem with them, is they slide in and out. And there's a lot of wear in there.
Well, I would support that.
I'm gonna ask the board to go with this, Mark, just acknowledge that this is a liability to the county and this on public record needs to be fixed.
The only thing I would say to that is I would do those repairs after you spray the insulation if they can wait that long. In the event that they replace top boards or sideboards, that there's not icing and foam that gets dripped from part of new pretty bleachers.
So it cannot be done this coming year though?
It's all subbed out, this is all subbed out by a
Okay.
contractor. This is what they do. They do bleachers.
So take that 25 off.
Take it off.
I mean, add it to the total. Take it
Total
off.
amount of money.
Off our contingency.
How much? No, what number?
25,000 for bleachers at Douglas Center.
And the insulation, all that stays in, what is it, 111? Or
1110.
1110? 1110, it stays in there, and then I just present the bills to whoever.
Well, I guess you're going to have to.
I don't manage that budget, that's Mr. Harris.
I guess you have to bid out the insulation.
We will.
So it'll all come back.
Okay.
Before this meeting.
New number, this new.
748,069. So no on the foyer, no on the bathrooms, or we're not there yet?
Not there yet.
Well, while Mark is standing there, I've been in those bathrooms numerous times. Is that just the ones in the front? Or
Yes,
the ones in the back?
the ones in the front, the ones in the back, they're in good shape. Of course, they're not used as much either.
There's gates in there, they're always locked when one goes there.
Well, we kind of do that on purpose, but.
Make it last longer.
Yes, sir. Well, people will go in there, one person will go in there and trash a bathroom with 15 toilets in there and go, oh no, we can't clean the whole bathroom.
Well, I can say here lately that Coliseum had, even when we had our meeting there during COVID, we used those bathrooms quite a lot. Several funeral services have been there. I feel like they need some attention. I mean, we don't have it on there if needed. I would support it, but you certainly look back and
I'm in support of it. I would just say, you want to go through the rest of the list and circle back around and see if we got enough to get there.
Well, and I guess my question would be, since the foyer is basically attached to them, you want to treat those as one item.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, you got this
You're going for, you're only another 10,000 there, so at 130 treated as one item.
Mr. Gray, take us
And y'all
through
just
the
let
rest
me
of
know
it. And we'll come back.
when we're done. Okay.
Repair, replace cool deck at the pool for Scott. The pool, the gel coat, the pool cover, all three of those.
We had the gel coat at one point, Greg. What would it make of it?
It's on the wish list of the, and that's the thing, we won't know the expense of that until we drain the pool and get to it. We just make an estimate. Hopefully we do it cheaper, so a maintenance item, so we just have somebody come in and start working on that. And then we do this every couple of years anyway. It's just an ongoing, thing we do. The cool deck has got probably some safety issues there. So we get that taken care of so that we can.
Does anybody contribute to this other than the county?
We actually, yes, the school contributes some things, or certain things that the school can contribute to. There's like $18,000 we get back from the school every year, or depending on how much we bill them, we budget $18,000. Certain items in the interlocal agreement they can fund, and they can't, certain things they can't fund. So we try to get as opportunistic as we can. So.
Mr. Chair, you don't have a solid price on the gel coat, you said?
Correct.
I mean, is that something we could just, if we need to approve the other two, and let them just come back to us?
That'd work. And we could, again, it might be 10,000, it might be 8, it might be 20, so we're not positive.
So we're, is it consensus to replace the cool deck in the cover and then wait on price on the gel coat?
I'm in support of that. Yes, sir.
Good.
Mr. Phillips? Okay. You okay?
It's 25,000.
Yes, sir, I'm good.
The stairs at Little River, I've already been down there, I know that's wood and it's been there a while, and I'm assuming this is the better way to go than that wood packaging.
Right, and we've, excuse me, we've had that in the budget for multiple years. I think last year before, we'll just, give enough money to repair it. County maintenance guys do a great job of doing that, but it's just, if we do it with aluminum, then we're not. But again, it's a tight year, so.
Might not be a necessity.
Right.
Can we get by with it for another year, or they are okay for this year?
Saying that, we can. So.
Sooner or later, you're gonna say we can't.
Well, sooner or later, somebody's gonna slip and fall, and but
So it's another safety issue.
It can be, yeah. Down there at
Can
the
we
bottom,
do
it stays
sections of it?
underwater.
No, it's down and down.
Yeah, just.
Let's just tackle that thing and get it done.
Go ahead, we'll approve the stairs if everybody's in agreement on
You okay with that?
I'm good with that.
Mr. Phillips says good.
Is that the one we had somebody slip and fall on before we ended up with a flame on? Is that the one?
Recently,
No,
I know
that was-
recently Adam went down and did a report with the lady on,
Yeah.
in the last couple of months.
we've got
I don't know that it's on those stairs.
Yeah, it was the other
Where they
steps.
fell, I think it was on the other side, but
This, yeah, yes, it was different stairs.
Moving on to the stage.
Let me talk about just that for a minute. The stage is an idea that we had a lot of events. We put it in the budget years ago, and then the events started tapering down. I mean, for example, the fair uses a wood stage. It's a nightmare to put together and stuff. We've been using the different events The school has this aluminum stage, and we've been going and hauling and putting up. It just takes time and manpower to get it all together. I'm okay with not even considering that right now, a stage, but I'd like to get some other players, different partners to contribute to that if we can. But we can work on that in the next year or so to try to do that. The bleachers, there's several events that we were having at the fairgrounds now, the arena for cow shows, livestock shows, and we are addressing the steps, the concrete steps we have now. It's a bad step, and Jason's working with contractors to work on those to make the step better. Barry talked to some senior, called me about that had some issues with that. Anyway, the idea of these portable bleachers, it is a real set of bleachers, seat about 300 people, hydraulics. They fold up, you put them down there, put them behind a 3/4 ton truck, pull them down the road, set it up. So it's a real deal. It's not cheap stuff. It's a very well done process. I know the chairman showed me yesterday that there's some group. Two thoughts. The Branford Rodeo people already are renting some portable bleachers now. They found a way to get some used bleachers for a little bit cheaper. What I'm thinking is we could rent ours to other people that may need to use those also. The only thing, we have staff time in hauling and transporting and whatever, but we might look at a used set as opposed to a new set. Again, until you look at it and kick the tires, I'm always nervous about used because somebody's trying to get rid of something, or it could be just a cycle they have to keep their fleet in good shape. But
they're gonna have two sets. I'm looking at the text I got sent yesterday. It's from Eddie and Liz Brown out of Branford. They're putting two sets. They're having to rent two sets for the rodeo arena. They're upcoming rodeo in September, I think it is. And those are the sets, would be the used sets, so we'll be able to look at them when they get here.
Okay. Was the price was 70?
79.
Okay.
And that seats 450 people.
The two sets or just one set? So that's a lot for one. I think 300 was the magic number.
Well, they had one set 10 row high, 28 long, 20 wide. That seated 300 people, so that's 450 per set.
No. If it's
One set, 10 rows high. This is 15 rows high.
right, but that's the 300 people is the magic number per set, I think, unless you get smaller.
I don't know. I'm just reading this text, so I don't know.
Okay. We would probably use it, throughout the year, but that's one of those big ticket items that and maybe we circle back around to that.
We'll circle back around to that, but I would like to address the Little River Springs attendant gatehouse.
Yeah, on that, we need to kind of have a short discussion. The idea of that is if we have an attendant down there collecting a donation or not donation, a fee to get in, then we change behavior some by who shows up possibly. We have a chance to monitor who's coming in a little bit better. I think we will either generate revenue or it'll be a wash. The idea is to have 2 people per day working for us. That would do 2 things. They would have in the overlap time when they're changing the guard, they can pick up litter and remove that. Helps our other people that do that already. But the idea is to have a little modular building or a little building there for you to get out of the weather or whatever.
Kind of like they do at the collection site.
Right. There's some of that. Yeah.
Well, I think the idea was to do Little River this year, and then if
See how it
that all
goes.
worked good, then we'd move over to Royal Springs and do that one, and
Right.
so on and so forth, till we got them all.
Right, but I think, I'm 95% sure we would generate enough revenue to cover all those costs. And we do not have a line item for the revenue, because I wanted to discuss with the commission first before we, even one, if we charge $5 a carload, that's a easy number. There's easily 50 cars there a day, and more sometimes. So that's my take on it, if we did that.
Would we limit how many we would let in at a time? Or is that
I think we would,
that'd be an ordinance thing you'd have to change?
I think we worry about that a little bit later.
Yeah.
That'll be a phase 2.
I would support giving it a trial run.
I'm good with it.
I know, is it Hard Springs, that's the county run?
Right.
When they do that, I'm sure Fannin Springs, I believe.
Right, state park, right?
Yeah.
Well, I just think it's the only way you're ever gonna clean them up and stop, see
Right.
what's going on down
And the idea is to just change, help change some behavior and, but,
there. Get it back to more of a family.
family.
Yeah.
And again, that, so that no cost coming out of the list, because that'll be covered in the revenue we generate. I'm sure of that.
So all you need is consensus to set up line items, I guess,
Right, and just move forward on that process.
and not take this out of contingency right
Correct.
now.
Right.
Well, that's an easy fix.
Is that both of them we attended and gatehouse?
Yes.
Where are you gonna fund those yourself?
Yes.
Hopefully out of the revenue that it generates.
Right.
And on that trial run, if it performs as expected, then you would go to Royal next. I know Little River's more highly attended than Royal, but Royal's probably
Right.
2.
Well, right, we'll be the next, and then, again,
What about Suwannee Springs?
that's not ours. Charles being our only other one.
I'd say by far Little River and Royal are more. I mean, Charles
It's getting there.
is getting closer, but it's so much smaller than the other two
Right.
that they're way more highly attended.
But,
Little River by far.
Little River one, maybe next year we'll do Royal, and the following year possibly Charles if we get there.
With that. So Miss Nina, what's our figure now?
693 out of 69. But I'm not sure about the bleachers.
Well, we was gonna circle back to it. Have we skipped anything else?
We talked about Brantford.
Let's go back to the foyer and the bathrooms also.
We talked about Brantford briefly a while ago, and I should have stayed up on equipment. But if we, again, town of Brantford gets 20% of what the commission gives us, taking out a few line items that are not whole departmental issues, like it might be the pass-through for Heritage Park, it might be the professional services, some of that kind of thing that we have just in our regular department budget. We could handle all of our operating expenses with that. Within the first year in the equipment needs, we could cover some of that, but not all of that. We would be asking the town of Brantford also to make some initial investments as well with some revenues that they have in reserves for upgrades to facilities. But we still need a truck, trailer, and mowers, are the main things. I think I can take one of the other mowers that Randy didn't get from the airport, and
I thought you gave me 3 of them.
I got one out back that if you want to fix up.
Well, this is why I was asking for part of that TDC money.
Right.
I don't know what you can use that for, or if you can jockey stuff around and make it work.
Yeah, we can use some of that for that. We can use that for the improvements, not for equipment.
I got you. Could you take some of the money for improvements and move it, you know what I'm saying?
If the town's willing to do that, then the town will be buying that, and it'll be town stuff.
Mr. Chairman, I think we're all talking about that third cent. And we got back to that from the cost of the reserves. The 75, 772 that we talked about, right? Is that what you're?
Yeah, right. Well, that's what the chairman brought up. I mean, we could use some of that money, but I want to make sure we're spending it the right way. I'd rather see, the commission, if you can fund it, do maybe one mower and a truck. I've got a used trailer at the airport that we could use temporarily. But the idea is having a big enough trailer we could haul tractor and stuff that we could do other work down there too. So
Go ahead, I'm sorry. I was just gonna ask,
So what's that figure?
could we use for the renovation, you said you could use for this 120, this 130 that Mark was talking about, just combining the two, could we use 130 out of that 275?
So we're
The Coliseum.
The Coliseum.
The Coliseum bathrooms and all that?
Right. We could do some of that out of our regular budget. We could use that, some of that, deeds money for that.
The only reason I'm asking is just so everybody knows the kind of direction I'm going. If we could use some of that money there, and we still haven't gotten to the contingency, but I still would like to have the conversation of adding some more RV sites.
We're gonna do that.
About moving some money down there to help out what you guys are talking about with the ball fields and such down there. I don't know, I'm just, trying to use all our resources.
Right.
In the right manner.
We will, y'all known me for a long time, we will work the different opportunities and get everything taken care of one way or the other.
So we're just talking about taking that 375 and moving it to 275, I'm sorry, and moving it to your budget, right?
Right. Oh, well, we
Can't move it.
You can only use it for certain improvements.
we can use it a piece at a time from that line.
Coliseum is in general revenue.
Could we do, Mr. Chairman, I'm asking Mr. Scott, could we maybe move 100,000 out of that and maybe this other 30 if you needed to see if you could round that up, and then we could talk about funding like your trailer and stuff like that out of our contingency.
Right. So the 30 for the stairs and the 100.
No, I'm just back.
He's back on the bathrooms.
Yeah, I'm back, because we got to tackle, we kind of skip past in this big numbers, that's why I want to go ahead and try to address it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have a problem with what you're saying, Commissioner Hale. I think that we need to figure out how to get that done. But on that 275, I just don't want the board to forget about, I want to see some progress at the sports place.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Yeah,
we could use the rest of it from the RV side, sports place, and down,
I mean, there was
split it up equally that.
Yeah, I want to try to see some, like RV sites, some new stuff done with that third cent where it could potentially generate revenue back to us to allow us to do the upgrades and repairs even sooner. In the RV site, and some stuff down in the south end, RV sites maybe on the new wear track, for the rodeo folks that come to town and whatnot, and then also expedite some planning, or, I know he's already got a design plan back there, but that sportsplex could potentially generate a lot of that. 500,000, I think you said yesterday, was the estimated economical impact for that one weekend.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Staley.
I know y'all talk about that third cent or whatever. Are we getting any input from the TDC board themselves about?
This money's not, we moved that third cent back to the TDC board. This third cent had historically been going to the Coliseum, so this 275, TDC board doesn't really have a say-so over it because it had been going to the Coliseum.
This is board money at this point.
I got you.
Jimmy, correctly?
But then it got turned back.
Now they have a say-so over that third cent.
I'm with you.
But if one side's going, that 275 going, it's going.
It's going.
Yeah, it's going.
Yeah,
That's
I
right.
got you.
Restrictions on that 270 either.
There will be some restrictions, we gotta figure that out, but, this is-
Well, and that's what I was kind of thinking, we use it for the back of the, like you said, it's renovating it, maybe, like you said, sports complex, things of that nature, that have not been designed for tourism type stuff.
But we'll work with Mark, trying to find a way to, I mean, the 4-year piece is relatively easy to take out, doing it in our budget, the Coliseum budget. You know, the bathroom piece is more of a maintenance thing, so that, kind of chasing rabbits. But we, yeah, we just gotta be careful, for that 3rd cent to make sure we're spending appropriately.
So how much for a truck and a trailer and all?
We'd like to do another, service body, same as we did before, what did we figure that was, 45, I think. Mowers, 13, we do, use mower for with it, you know. Trailers about 7 to do the heavier duty one that we'd like to get. So
45 plus 7 plus what?
13.
All this is going to Branford, town of Branford now?
No, this is going to the South County Operations of Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, all that goes through.
Right.
Right now, it's
This
not
is just-
done yet.
Right.
Okay. Y'all are thinking out loud right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So you want 65,000?
Yes, sir. If you take out the 120,000 for the bathrooms at the Coliseum, that leaves us with $573,069. And then you take another 65 out for what we need down there, that would bring it to right at $500,000.
Oh, what did you say? What are you talking about? We're doing discussion. We're talking about something else over here.
I was talking about doing the bathrooms at the Coliseum out of the contingency, 120,000. I'm just thinking out loud. So we were at 693,069, take out the 120 for the bathrooms, leaves us 573. He needs around 65,000 to do what he needs to do on the south end. That's pretty close to $500,000 left is what it is.
Mr. Chair,
4 years at Coliseum, you want to include that?
Well, Greg said he could probably absorb that in his budget.
Mr. Chairman, how,
Mr. Williams.
on that 65 for the south end, how confident are you and Mr. Scott on us pulling that equitable agreement off with them?
Pretty, I mean, I feel good about it right now. I mean, I don't know where it goes really, I'll be honest, but I feel good about it.
And it falls in their court. You know,
If it
basically,
doesn't go through, we can put the money back in contingency.
That's right, I'm just curious.
my thought is this, just to be transparent, is they need to retain some because they'll be helping us some, and there's some space we want to use of theirs to store our stuff in and that sort of thing. And let them still do Ivy Park, and not get engaged with that. So 50, 75, or we're talking about 50,000 at one time of the money they get. But that kind of goes right now to events and helping youth sports programs, that kind of stuff, which we would not be doing. And then maybe throwing in a little bit extra back to them for the rental space that they want us to use. You know, and maybe 70,000 is the right number, it's just in generic numbers.
Of the share, of the portion they get now.
Right. The amount that would go to our fund from the South County would be higher than what it was last year. We can cover any shortfalls with that. Moving forward, next year, we should be pretty good with everything. You should have to come back for an ask. That 20% will handle that South Park. Again, for us, it frees up hiring a couple of people down there to take care of Little River and Royal, or not, maybe Royal sometimes, but Little River Trail, all the all that.
That they
And-
currently have to do for live.
Right, right. This transportation kills is essentially the trail. But,
So pretty much what we're asking for here is 65 grand,
just for equipment.
just for equipment. That's all we're asking for, above what they already.
And that we'll be adjusting the budget with finance once we clarify what the arrangement is with Brantford.
This is gonna be in a separate budget, kind of by itself, it's not like South County, so it will be
So that would be
transparent, so you
what we
can
do.
see what's going on. Ms. Nina, you look
I'm
at me
looking
like
at
I'm
these,
crazy.
and they're just like, what's going on here?
Do you remember when
Have a tick or something, I'm just gonna.
Do you know when we worked his last pad? I just had it all laid out for you after we got all done, right?
You're gonna put South County in some department, but under recreation.
Right.
Yes,
Just like we have aquatics
Which
and
means in general revenue, that 20% will go away.
you go straight to us. Well,
It will go away, because right now we're sending it to South County to do their own. So that'll save us 200 grand, because you're gonna make your own money down there. When you create your own department.
but we'll still need to give them some,
we gotta have some seed money.
Seed money.
I'll draw that to you on my part. And they'll have you a new agreement that the county does with Brantford.
It'll all be spelled out. I mean, I hope it goes that far. I mean, I really hope it happens, but if it doesn't for some reason, then
But I do like,
we put the money back in contingency.
I like where they're going with it, if we can do it. I mean, I want to be able to see it, transparency, know what's going on, who's contributing what.
So you're taking 65 out of contingency for trucks and trailers?
Yes.
And giving it to recreation.
Yes, ma'am.
And then the 160,000 that we're gonna send to South County, we're still gonna do that or no?
It's still just a placeholder.
Because I do that monthly, they expect that money every month.
We'll have it all figured out before October 1.
Promise.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
don't want Donna on me, not your Donna, Donna and Joan, Branford Donna. I don't want Donna, your Donna on me either.
I don't either.
I don't want either Donna on me, but I know Donna will be looking for her money after month.
And we'll have that worked out for you.
We're close now, so it shouldn't take long.
So,
my plan is giving-
65,
I plan on giving them a proposal by the end of the week or the first of next week. They'll meet on Tuesday to discuss that. And like I've told them before, we can pack our toys and come back home. So,
What was the consensus on the 120?
I don't know.
I just took it out, but do you wanna do it or not?
thank you.
I mean,
Thanks, Greg.
the place looks shabby out there. Like I said, it is old. But
I'm fine with
I
fixing
just
it.
didn't know if we couldn't use money
So we
from
use the
somewhere
third
else.
cent.
Yeah.
Can we use some of the third cent?
That's all I'd want to use that for.
Well, I'm saying we have,
$1,000.
well, let's just go ahead and take it out of contingency. Well, we don't know what we can use the money for.
Well, the problem is if you take it out of contingency and we start getting into some other things, we know we can't use that third cent.
Can't put it back in contingency.
You know, we can't use the third cent.
We're not doing portable bleachers, right?
No,
Not at the
ma'am.
time.
Let's check half of it out right now and put it in this.
But how do we find out, does anyone know, can we just use it out of that third cent for?
Well, I know
Well,
that,
that would be an attorney question.
that's what I'm saying, and he has to go back so far to when it
So
was
he
restricted
on
by
call
statute or
24/7?
something. It's not
He is,
something.
and he texted me a little while ago, he's in the.
I mean, I think,
Closing at 112 or something.
because I'd like to, at some point in time, have some contingency, talk about some more roads and chips.
I've been sitting over here being quiet, waiting till the end of that.
Mr. Harris, didn't we,
Yeah.
we got some roads already in the budget for chip seal already.
We do, but we need some more.
We took all those out yesterday.
You're right. We took all Lynn's out.
We have 800,000 in there.
Yeah.
And that's actually the list that we discussed in that meeting a couple months ago.
I'm sure everyone can stand one more road in their district if we.
I ain't got one yet. We're working on one, but I ain't seen chip seal since I've been in office.
I'm gonna tell you right now, that we're gonna have our hands full with $800,000 worth of chip seal. We're on the loop, we're going on the loop, we're gonna be there for a while. We could be there easily a few months trying to get that one ready. Gets us into the holidays, and then, there's something else.
I got two short.
137, we've got to do the repairs there yet. But these are things that are in the current year. We're working on Palm right now. That shouldn't take us a whole lot longer. Like 30 days, we ought to be finished with our part there, because we aren't paving that, they are, they're bidding that out. So then we start,
The new year.
you know, three months in is when we start $800,000 worth of chip seal projects on a list, so.
But if the funding's there, we can go ahead and identify those.
Well, how about this? How about we
What
we burn up
are
800
you trying to
grand?
find a way to spend the rest of your contingency? Because I would urge some caution here.
I don't want to spend it all.
Your professional services line in 1110 could blow up yet, depending on how many more grants we find, and we need engineering, and some of it won't include engineering expenses, and we're gonna have to pay for that. So for example, we didn't budget the numbers to pay for the engineering for the wastewater treatment plant and spray field out there at the catalyst site. Now, my hope is that we can get a grant that'll pay for that, but that's an expense. And then whatever we do going north up 129, we've got engineering expenses there as well. So I would just say be cautious right now.
I have a, bring up a question. On that 129 North expansion, what are you thinking on that? Are you, if we gonna tie into the cities and, I mean, we don't have a plan up there, so we can't handle it.
No, my plan right now is tying to the cities. What would happen there is anyone that connected that line would have to work a deal with the city, and they'd end up paying a fee in lieu of taxes. That's what they've required so far.
But what does the county generate back for the investments made in putting the pipe and stuff in?
Commercial business activity.
No, we have to go to the city.
Commercial.
Oh, city, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're not gonna make money on the, that service, but you're gonna make it on commercial, ad valorem taxes.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know that, but that's without I mean, do we got an immediate user, or are we just speculating at us doing it?
Well, I can tell you right now that there's still activity across from Busy Bee. They're refining that whole approach, because what they were attempting, we stopped them from doing. We told them we were gonna treat that as a development.
Right.
They had a master plan, the whole thing, and it all started around the issue of transportation management right there. But now they've got a professional planner involved, and they're working on that. They'll be coming back with a plan. So my hope is to see commercial activity there, and I don't have any doubts that over the next 10 years, it'll continue to develop out there on 129 North.
Is the city prepared to handle the volume?
They've got the capacity. They have the capacity.
Depending on the day you ask them, they got capacity.
Depends on whether or not it's raining, right? Depends on whether or not it's raining.
No, how big thunderstorm.
If it's raining at all, and if it is, I mean.
Yeah.
You say they have the capacity to handle it at the street. The piping is too small.
No, I know that, and that's what we're talking about.
That's the
Piping.
This is a new line going up 129.
Yeah, but the existing, lift station the city has out there?
They have a problem with a couple of lift stations.
Yeah.
But they're, the one closest to Walmart, they're already working on trying to redo that one, and my understanding is they're talking about doing the same over there at Lowe's. Beside Lowe's at the other lift station.
Did you loan them the money?
Pardon?
Did you loan them the money?
Commissioner Land, you not like you have a little hostility toward the city now after you tried to get that agreement together.
Now, let me say this.
No hostility.
It's very possible that we may have to work some grants for them. I'm not gonna rule that out. If that's what it takes for us to get the commercial activity, then.
Y'all warned me, I went over there and,
You wasn't
I took my whooping over there and come on back like I was going to company. But, you go back, you look at and y'all didn't give me all the details, but you look at the dispatcher situation. I kid the sheriff about a one-way street, the city ain't far behind it, boy.
Commissioner Land said, if y'all authorize me to go over here and speak on y'all's behalf, I will. Mr. Flavor says, son, you don't want to do that. You don't want to do that. No, sir, I got it.
Y'all slide gas money down here. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, where we at here? We gotta get finished. I gotta have, but I hate to.
Anyway, I was just encouraging to be careful. Professional services can come back, sooner than later, depending on whether.
Right now, we're around $500,000, are we not, Keith? Nina?
Well, are you
We're at
approving the
628.
Coliseum bathroom?
Yes, the
What do you think
120.
of the Coliseum?
130.
Well, Greg's gonna handle the 10.
Foyer.
Greg's gonna handle that to his budget, the 10 for the 40.
What, are y'all still trying to take the 120 up?
Well, unless you got a good plan.
I keep going back to 275, and we still haven't got to, like you guys said, doing some upgrades, some sports complex.
I just want to see that 80 acres, whatever it is, 60 acres on the backside of sports place. I want to see that take off. And some of us, we can't do it by ourselves. That's going to be grants, but if there's anything
Well,
we can start.
Well, that's why I'm saying take the 120 for the bathrooms out of contingency, use the TDC money where it can be used to do that kind of stuff, because it can be used for
That's
some
right.
of that
No,
stuff.
that's right.
Okay. We
What
know
about
that.
the switch that's gonna fail, 35 grand?
Mark said we could, I thought we already took it out.
I have nothing.
Yeah, I scratched it
missed
off.
What is the catastrophic one?
You can take 40 million.
It'd be cheaper to hire somebody and let them stand there and repair a jumper cable. We shoot that thing back up.
508,000, 060.
That's without the 75,000 out for the courthouse.
Without. I'll circle back around to all your stuff.
Is that the last thing we got?
I hope so.
Did y'all say no to the bleachers?
Yes.
And they pulled in?
But you said.
Well,
yes to
they're gonna have to get a
the
price on that.
bleachers.
We don't know what it's gonna cost.
They said yes to the Douglas Center bleachers, but no to the portable bleachers. Which I can't figure out why the portables are so much higher than the Douglas Center and so.
Well, the Douglas Centers are existing bleachers. They're just redoing.
I got you. It's really not my business down.
That's it, so, well, we got to decide on these HVAC controls. Mark, did you say you could get by with that, or we need to do it? What?
On the control?
Yes, sir.
I told you, we can roll, now y'all said, what you said is if we need to come back.
Right, that's right, that's right.
That's right, so we're just gonna leave that out for right now.
Yes. Don't leave it out. If it comes to
If it
emergency.
comes to emergency, then we'll deal with it. Anything else?
Yes. Do we want to revisit the issue with dispatch and taking money from Jennifer? She came for that purpose today.
Is she here?
She's here.
Oh, there she is. Okay.
She hiding in the corner.
Hiding in plain sight, wasn't it?
She was just back there cheering y'all on.
I bring her up yesterday for sacrifice. I
Yeah.
hope she forgives me.
We said no, we said no, we wasn't doing
Well,
nothing.
Mr. Harris called me, I had a customer there, and I'm like, because it fluctuates every year, so we just kind of, all right, so last year we brought in, 234,000 from the state. And so I kind of put that for this year. Our estimated expenses coming out this year would be 203,000. And if y'all noticed, Nina did go ahead and do line items for 2 things for this year. It's the PowerPhone system software. That will come out of the contingency. And for us to do that, we have to do a smart cop interface. And since we're the first ones in the state going with PowerPhone, hopefully, we have to pay for that integration. So the cost of that was $93,000 and then $21,600. But that's going to come out of contingency. But next year we'll have the maintenance for those. And so
So you're saying of the 200 and something, the numbers that you just called out are coming from contingency?
no. No, that's our expenses that we're looking at for this year.
So what's your bottom figure there, Ms. Jennifer? What'd you come up with?
Well, like, we don't have an issue with paying for a dispatcher this year. But let me say this as well. We can only cover a third of a call taker's salary. But so if we do it like we did last year as a special disbursement to the sheriff, then that covers us with the state on our side.
17,000.
But I mean, we could do more.
Well, I think you said you only needed 6 more, or I'm not sure. You didn't
Talking about
include health and benefits.
40. Well, no, then they had to add the benefits in, that's where they're.
That's what Mr. Harris said, it was missing the benefit.
So I think it was 7.
But the sheriff, I think, was gonna cover that part.
You later, son, man?
I would talk to you, you said what now?
Keep talking.
No,
I just asking good.
How much do you say you covered, Jennifer?
Well, I wanted to see, I mean, we should have no issue this year.
She did 17,000 this year, so we were thinking she could do it next year. But then you come back yesterday with, that didn't include benefits.
Right, yeah, we just need to add for the benefits.
6,000.
Yeah, well, the thing is, well, the whole thing is 42. She had 17 in the county, you had 10 or 12, so you had 10.
8. We had 8.
I honestly thought we backed it all out. I was gonna say, if you could just fund the whole thing, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. If you could just fund it.
I don't think, like, we're looking at 203,000 and we bring in roughly 234 from the state.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't say to do the whole thing.
Yeah. Just move to.
So we gave 10, and she's, so she was 17, that's 27, and what did you get? How much, 45? 42. 15,000 more?
But I didn't think all 42 was her.
No,
No.
Oh, okay.
we're just seeing how much she can give. What, just tell me what you
Well,
can.
what do you think?
What
we
can
can-
you do?
I'd say maybe 25.
25, we gave 10, that's 35, you cover the rest
I'll
of
think
it.
of the rest, yeah.
That's good.
And then, but looking into next year though,
We may have to change.
well, so we have the, power phone, just so y'all know what that is. It's, EMD, EFD, which is emergency medical and fire dispatching. So right now, they can't give out pre-arrival instructions because it's such a big liability on the sheriff's office. With this, they will be able to. And so we've included, a recommendation letter from the sheriff, chief hand, and our communications director. Because when we have that, the liability falls on the company rather than the sheriff's office. So next year, we will have the maintenance for that and the smart clock, which would total around around 20,000. So see, we'll have that next year.
So you'll be at like 223 or something is what it's going to be your expense.
Right. But also, this year we carried over, last year it was brought up about a vehicle for my office, and we were gonna split it with code enforcement. We haven't done that yet. It is something that's definitely needed. So, in our machine,
Right?
not out of contingency.
I mean, with that balance forward.
Well, we have it under machinery and equipment.
You still have it budgeted, was it 19,000?
Well, we have, 35 in there right now.
They'll get half a truck, that's good.
And so that's definitely something we need to do, but see, that will go away next year. So that should cover,
Cover what you're doing now.
right.
Well, we
That's
appreciate
good,
you.
yeah, that's great.
Sheriff come out good on that, 25 from her.
He can get
Plus,
the-
he only had to come up with 7.
I'm telling you, man, he's a master at it.
And something else we also added this year was our communications director. She wanted to do a dispatch on-call pay, because she has a hard time right now. They have 2 call takers on all shifts right now. So then if somebody calls in,
Mhm.
most of the time she goes and she'll have to go cover. And so, but she only requested 6,500, so I had went ahead and threw that in there as well.
Thank you
Thank you
very much.
Appreciate you.
It's
You
teamwork.
are very welcome.
Mr. Harris is gonna buy you a big steak dinner.
That's right, absolutely. Mr. Chairman, I was gonna say, I need to talk to the sheriff again for a minute.
Sheriff?
Eddie, you
Well, I just wanted to say that Sheriff said it's only 42,000 for a dispatcher. I gave him 45 yesterday. I need my $3,000 back.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I'm just.
Look at it.
He's sitting there thinking, man, I ain't got a
Put the camera on him. Don't put the camera on.
That was for the other dispatcher. That was the
Turn
other.
around and put that big smile.
He's only at 4,000.
Oh, man.
That's what I'm saying, he's back there counting in his head.
Y'all are good at numbers, I'm very impressed.
Yeah, he's on it, boy, I tell you.
Mr. Chairman, we do need to talk to the sheriff just a second.
Okay.
If we can get him back up here. I don't know when you plan on rolling those trucks out for auction, but we really need to talk to you about getting some of those trucks.
Okay.
When that time comes.
We've got some vehicles ordered, from the Garber Ford, out of, Green Cove Springs. I talked to them 2 weeks ago. You know, they've got, you know, some set aside for us, and I said, they can't give me a delivery date. So as soon as I hear something, I'll let you know on that, Randy's. Yeah.
Yeah,
We can help you out.
we need to try to get some of those used trucks. Now, we're still waiting for the utility box truck that we agreed
Last
Yeah,
10 months ago.
And that's another, you know, here again, we had the same problem that everybody else that's been up here has, you know, we order stuff and they can't give us delivery date, don't know what's coming in, but that's been ordered.
Been a long time.
Yeah, about 8 months or so now, yeah, so, but yeah, as soon as we hear from that one that you've agreed to buy, and then the ones that we've got come in, I'll give you, I'll let you know, sure will.
Good. I
Okay,
appreciate that.
Thank you,
All
sir.
right.
Mr. Pratt's here. We had a question.
I'm not here.
There you are.
Where did you go?
On the
Are y'all still discussing?
Yes.
on the TDC. Okay, I'm listening on the TDC third cent. Yes, we were, the money had been accruing in years past and was over at the Coliseum, and the Coliseum's budget $275,000. I think all of us, I know me and Commissioner Hale, just trying to get, and Nina too, clarification on what that could be spent on. Is it capital improvements? Is it upgrades to tourist sites that have more capital improvements or assets?
Or facilities that are being used for tourism.
Yeah, so what, that 275, we got some ideas and things we want to do with it, but what are we restricted based on when it was collected to do?
Well, the way it was collected, before, the 275 is still subject to the the TDC guidelines on being able to spend that third cent. We had said, had different capital types of improvements that you can utilize it for.
Like the rest
Back several years ago, y'all had designated that it was going to be only spent, at the Coliseum. That got removed from all of that, and then it gave you a wider berth to be able to spend some of that on capital improvements. Whatever you get down to brass tacks on looking at, I can, if you give me a shout in, I can tell you.
Lookups for the campers, RV lookups.
And?
RV lookups or something, or wanting to know?
At the Coliseum.
RV hookups?
Yeah.
Let me see where we look at.
To rent them out for the rodeos and whatnot.
Well, wouldn't renovating the Coliseum bathrooms be a capital improvement?
Yes, sir.
Well, let me ask you, just so Mr. Chairman, for clarification, so that money was set aside at that time and put into a line item under the Coliseum we use just for the Coliseum, and it's still sitting there.
Well,
So we can't, I'm asking,
okay, the money that was initially set aside, and I don't have the exact amounts, but it wasn't the whole 275. You had a specific designation, and it was $50,000 the first time, as I recall. that was put in there, and that was, and it said for Coliseum. We then changed the TDC thing to broaden that out for TDC-related capital improvements that would fall under this third section of the statute.
So, I guess my question to you and to the board is, do we want to reverse that and take that 120 out of that? Because I don't know if we can use that 275 to do some of the other.
Well, let's just ask them this. So the 275, if the board decided to use 120,000 of it to upgrade the bathrooms and the foyer at the Coliseum, could we do that?
I believe so.
And then could we also take the remainder of that money and do RV hookups at the Ware property that would generate tourism, and the remaining part, a portion of it, go to development of the development of the sportsplex, the addition to the sportsplex.
Well, number one, we don't own the Ware property yet. Then
When we
after that period of time that we do own it, then you would have to make a declaration that it is a part of tourism, and then you would direct it down to the TDC, rather than usually recommend, they can recommend.
So we could do that with the proper steps being done and acquire ownership of the property, and then moving some of those funds toward the development of the back piece of the sportsplex.
And, yeah, I do want to, my intent was to add some more RV sites at the current Coliseum.
Well, you gonna leave anything left for me at the sportsplex?
Well, I mean, but I just want to see where all the money, how it can be spent. If that's all legal and above board.
This is the money that we still have on board side.
On the board side, that's what I'm talking about.
For January.
Right, that's what I'm talking about. It still has to follow.
We need both on
That's
some.
correct.
And where it makes sense, we would do hookups for water, I mean, for sewer, water, sewer also. But we're 9% ready to go on one run. We just gotta,
It wouldn't take much, you know what I'm saying.
and I really think the RV hookups, at the Coliseum, we can do predominantly out of the Coliseum budget.
Okay.
So I'm not, you get more bang for the buck really if you develop athletic fields than you do RV. Long-term, bigger money because all the RV people are just staying there. You got ball fields, they're staying in hotels, generating more money back to the
Yeah,
TDC.
them guys I read that night, wasn't no beer locally, they hire taxes.
But we don't get a beer cut. But we could. I like what you're thinking of, and so, for the rodeo, we could certainly go do that. Good idea, thank you.
Well, we hadn't done that already. But we can use that 120 though for bathroom renovations and foyer.
Yes, sir.
So you can back 120 out, man.
Even taking half of the third cent.
Okay, but no, he's paying for the foyer, Greg is.
Oh,
Yes.
that's right.
So you're just putting 120 back in our contingency.
And we're gonna reduce the 275 in our reserves on general side.
And honestly, I mean, at that point, the one thing I want was an RV hookup additional out there. He's saying he's got that in his budget, so however the board wants to discuss the rest of that for sports complex.
Well, can we just leave the rest of it in there right now and have that discussion?
That alone leaves it on 55 and then we'll keep the city reserves for whatever.
And the contingency is now at what?
628 or 69.
628.
So now we can talk about, Mr. Chairman, we can talk about a couple of road additions in District 4, since we was able to find, we've already got you.
We can talk about it all we want to.
All I need is two others to go with me.
Sheriff, I might need some help.
It's a rough age.
I
I think that's a good, guys, that's probably a higher contingency that we've constructed in a long time. And
Well, you gotta remember, we took $500,000 out of
I understand that, but even if you take, I think with what Mr. Harris was saying about some of the engineering infrastructure things we got coming up, I mean, this is,
Reality.
Jimmy?
That was 28.
yeah.
Continue.
Yeah.
But we didn't, but we would end up with nothing if we'd have funded that 120.
Yeah.
And wouldn't have found a fund for that, or a source for that.
Is there any other business?
Any other business? Some of the things we talked about yesterday were getting information on a milling machine and a larger paving machine, but I can't think of anything right now that is going to impact. Let me say this, with our contingency, there is one other thing, and Mr. Quebec's covering over me here. We will have some money that we'll need to spend on acquiring some right-of-way. It's not like out there on 153rd, and we'll have some other things as well, but we'll just have to deal with those when they come
Does
in.
Mr. Burback have a budget?
He did. We've already stripped it down to nothing.
You're gonna get,
We've hit everybody else, Mr. Burback, we just
Yeah.
figured we'd get you too.
you're gonna get the pricing on the paper and also milling machine before, just get us some numbers.
I'll get that information.
So the paper that we have, you're all gonna trade that in and upsize?
If we're gonna start paving more, we need to.
It's not that it's not doing a good job, it's just not big enough.
And it really isn't set up.
It's not really set up for our dump trucks.
Well, and it's not set up for the type of pavement that we really need to be in the business.
It's more of a parking lot paper, is what it is.
I mean, it's great for what we purchased it for, but if we're gonna get into actually paving some roads, then we need to have a machine.
Well, if they're doing that good a job that quick with the parking lot paving, they're in pretty good shape. They get real.
I was impressed, I'm gonna tell you. I really was.
There we go.
Anything else? Ms. Nina, Ms. Key,
Mr. Chairman, there is one thing.
I knew I should have just stayed together.
No, I just want to say this because Nina's never around when we get into our discussions at a later date, but Nina is really, she's been with us all these years and doing a fantastic job, and I want to say that she worked with Lita years ago, and Lita retired, but Nina was always on top of this budget for us. Keith has been working hard at it, but I think Keith would agree that he has to rely on Nina as well. She's the mastermind behind keeping all of us in great shape when it comes to these numbers and putting this book together. And I just wanted to say how much I appreciate what she does. She does a great job.
Absolutely.
I'd say with that, you give her a round of applause. Absolutely.
I stopped and saw her a couple of weeks ago, and we got talking about retirement or something of that nature, and I said, well, you're good for another 20 years or so. So we're in good shape for another 20.
I hope
Oh, we
so.
needed glasses from Walmart.
We really do appreciate what you do.
All you got is support.
Appreciate it. Ever since I've been on this board, with Lita and Nina, I haven't been in, when I do go in, I keep every now and then, I stop in and chat with her, but, these other commissioners, they're in there more, a whole lot more than I do. I know, I see Commissioner Land's truck down there. You know, my job, our job, I feel like my job as a commissioner to make sure the job is done. And I didn't get down there and get into all this. He rattled off all these numbers. Commissioner White rattled these numbers. Commissioner Hale rattled off numbers. Commissioner Stapleton rattled off numbers. But I really appreciate Nina. She can tell you the actual questions. She can tell you. She put her whole mind and soul into this, and I'm watching her and looking at how Keith is working with her, and that's a great team. And then you got Commissioner that's down there, and she's giving out all this good information. So that's a good team. So I'll just say this when we through, I was, attending a revival this week at my church, 3 nights, Monday, Tuesday, last night. And that was part of the message. Teamwork, you know, that quality, you putting everything together. And that's what put the wheels in motion. Without you keeping these guys bothered, I'm paying attention, and you got a very good staff, Mr. Harris and the attorney, to keep us out of the crack. He walked in just in the nick of time. I guess he must have been listening. So he walked in to keep us out of the crack. So I said, we got a great teamwork. Like I said, I know I'll be leaving, and I see the two candidates out here today in this district, Mr. Perkins and Mr. Blue. You'll see what you'll be working with. It's easy to sit out and observe, but when you're dealing with it, and you're looking out, that's where the problems start, or your work starts. But it's a great thing, and it's good for the community to come out. Other people left this morning, and you know, I love this county. I've been here all my life, 65 years. I don't plan on going nowhere soon, but I think that if everybody working together, we can have a great team. Thank you.
My hate's drying, Mr. Fleming, I gotta go.
Now, let me say this.
No, that was the point.
Let me say this. You talked about prices yesterday. I told you, don't take your dirt prices up because I'm gonna need some. Thank you.
Hey, I had to give my people a raise too. Do we have to have a motion to adjourn? Is that how this works, or can I get a motion to adjourn?
Thank you, Nina.
Thank y'all. Thank all of you.
And I thank everyone. Yeah, and I was, I thank all the different departments for working with us, and you guys are always good about it, but we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, you do need a
Well,
motion.
they do a lot behind the scenes that y'all don't even know about, so we appreciate what you do.
I just need a motion to adjourn.
Chairman, my own motion.
Motion by Commissioner Fleming, second by Commissioner Stapleton. Adjourn.